Takes ages. There we are. We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official live journey playtest. I'm going to take these 4 bright-eyed adventurers through the triumvirate and into some horrific situations, hopefully. I'm joined by Dan, Dylan, Joe, and Liam, who are 4 amazing players, and I'm very lucky that I have a very sympathetic and awesome group of people to try this out on first, all of whom I know and love, so hopefully this will all go well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with just creating characters first, and kind of talk you through that and that sort of thing, and then we'll get into the game. But just before that, I just want to explain a little bit about the kind of scenario that you'll be delving into, just so that you sort of know, you can kind of sculpt your characters and make them fit within that that sort of scenario, if you get my meaning. So we're in the second era of the triumvirate, about 60 years after the events of the first triumvirate game, and the triumvirate itself, which was kind of the central governing body, not evil, but just sort of about as useful as any real world government. It's kind of fallen apart, and everyone's kind of fending for themselves at this point. So we are in a small area around the planet Bardoom, and there's 2 moons to Bardoom, one of which is called Imis, and it sidles its way around the ravaged, once green planet of Bardoom, though it's not green anymore. Imis is not an easy place to live, and its people have tough lives. The half of the moon, half of the entire moon is taken up by an enormous mining facility known as Brackensfarn, which constantly digs for materials in the core. The mining operations cause constant shaking and incessant rumbling, to the point where many of the inhabitants are mad and murderous with hair triggers, and have contracted the mad disease known as the soul shivers. Squatting between, as a halfway house between Imis and Bardoom, is Humboldt Station, a large space station whose orbit is perfectly calculated and calibrated to be exactly between the 2 celestial bodies at all times. The purpose of Humboldt is to provide rest and resupplying for those who travel the 6-night journey to get between them. In addition, it acts as a customs checkpoint where cargo of all ships stocking is checked in order to ensure no contraband is being smuggled. Smugglers are executed, and the contraband is seized by the triumvirate, who sell it on the black market to fund their expansion, though they don't think anyone knows that they do it. You 4 will be playing smugglers. You'll be taking Grevden data chips from Bardoom to Imis. They're illegal due to the fact that they are more powerful than the standard allowed chips, and the reason the law was passed limiting chips is so that revolutions haven't got as powerful technology as the factions. So anything above kind of 800 on this Redux scale is illegal, and these are about 1,400. So if you got caught with these, you'd just be killed. The law was passed a couple of years ago, and since then, people have been making lots and lots of money selling them on the black market. The Imisan moon, or the moon of Imis, has fallen prey to several revolutions in the past, all of which have been quashed, and there is one starting now, and they need these data chips to win. They've been paying in a substance that grows only in Imis, known as Mardust. It's a valuable resource that comes from the plants on Imis, and is used to make everything, like just everything in Triumvirate. The miners and the mining corporations believe that the Emisan people mine it from the earth, hence the huge mining operation, when in fact it's harvested from the plants. So you will be working for a smuggling company, essentially, though to call it a company is generous, and you'll be transporting data chips, 10 of them, to Emis from Bardoom, which means that you guys will be smuggling ridiculously illegal contraband through very dangerous airspace. So let's create your characters. So, as those of you who've read the book know, the first way, or the best way to kind of start creating your characters is just to come up with the concept, the kind of high sort of concept of roughly sort of what your character is about, you know, one sentence to describe them. So I know a couple of you already have sort of ideas of this. So does anyone, has anyone got one finished, or does anyone want to sort of work through what sort of character they want to play?
I can give it a go if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So just character name, character description.
Yeah, just whatever you want.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna play Zam Cameron, who's a sort of a standard space rogue in affectation, but is a cyborg. So all of his inventory and abilities are kind of things that are built into his own body. I picture him. It's not outwardly looking like a cyborg, but like periodically, like, I don't know, his eyes will like pop off and he's got robot eyes underneath or something. Like, you know, his wrist or his fingers or his hands will open up, you know, kind of like an Inspector Gadget kind of thing.
Awesome.
Yeah. He is sort of, your typical space rogue. He's sort of a bastard with a heart of gold. He has a deep-seated fear of intimacy.
Yep.
Interesting. Which just manifests in like not liking being touched very much, I guess.
Yeah.
He has a sort of backstory arc with a bounty hunter who killed his father, who was a wanted criminal, and he's hunting for now.
Interesting.
And yeah, that's Cam Zamrin.
And he's going to be the pilot, right?
Correct. Yeah. One of his cyber enhancements is he's got cyber eyes, which give him X-ray vision, heat vision, and I'm just calling it pilot vision.
Yeah, pilot vision. That's fair enough. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he's also got like a hacking apparatus, a gas gun, a wrist laser, and a self-repair kit.
Yeah, sounds good. So while you're doing that, the next thing is obviously your attribute points. So they all start at -2, and you've got 8 points. So you can use a point and it goes to -1, then use another and it goes to 0. And that is the mod you'll use on a roll, you know? So if you just want to allocate those points as you see fit. Meanwhile, it looks like Joe has filled out his character sheet quite a lot. So I don't know, Joe, if you want to give us your amazingly named character.
Certainly. Tom. And he is a former miner, turned bodyguard when he figured out that he could make a better payday using his brawn on the grayer side of things. His fear is of the void, which is kind of unfortunate, both literal and figurative. He's terrified of being sucked out into space. Which might explain why he started out as a miner, because, you know, well, if you're digging in whatever you're on, you're less likely to get. And he's not that bright. That's the thing. He's kind of and his trait, his anger. He has a short temper, and when his anger gets the best of him, his focus is on crushing whatever the problem is, which makes him both stronger, be a little adrenaline rush, but also dumber because of single-mindedness. So he kind of needs help during those times. Otherwise, you know, he might go overboard.
Yeah, he's the sort of person you just point at the target and just poke him with a stick until he runs at it.
Right.
I love it.
His goal is to calm down and master his anger, because he while he's not that bright, he's a little intuitive in terms that he knows what his limitations are. That's why he quit being a miner and became a bodyguard. So he knows he's not that smart, but at least he knows he's not that smart. Right. So still haven't figured out inventory yet, but it's not going to be much.
Yeah. His 2 weapons are his left and right hands.
Basically.
Unless he's a weird alien, he's got 4 hands or something.
Yeah.
Dan or Liam, do you guys want to go ahead and give us a little bio?
Right. So Kozu, who is a giant lizard-type creature from a backwater planet somewhere, but has an amazing knack for anything mechanical, though most things aren't made for lizards. Neither their size nor their dexterity. However, it doesn't stop him from trying. The things they build on his planet are a bit bigger and a bit more simple. He got into the whole smuggling business because he didn't really know any better. He kind of doesn't really understand or appreciate more. He can understand them because he's smart, but he doesn't really appreciate coming from where he comes from, like all of these rules of these different societies. So he doesn't necessarily see it as a crime.
Right.
Like he's getting paid to move one thing from one place
It's
to
kind of
another place.
the cultural difference.
Yes, exactly. The cultural difference.
That's awesome. I like that.
He just thinks he's taking jobs and getting paid for it.
He's the pizza guy.
Yeah, and he's had a pretty good string because he's quite reliable and can handle himself.
And I guess like when you're a smuggler, the one thing you want to not look as guilty, and because he doesn't believe he's guilty, everyone just assumes he's just like, oh well, he doesn't even look shady at all. He's just a big lizard.
I mean, it's quite hard to read a lizard who thinks he's doing right, but it's also quite hard to read a lizard.
Plus, I mean, like, look at that smile. Isn't that just the happiest smile in the world? That guy wouldn't do anything.
Disarmingly happy looking. And
Awesome.
that's pretty much it. He's just exploring the galaxy, the universe,
Nice.
one moon at a time.
This is awesome. And finally, Liam.
Seeing as we have 2 bruisers, I was basically going to fill whatever role wasn't kind of done. And if we have 2 bruisers, I'm like, well, I'll take a hit to my brawn. So I'll be playing a technician, is what I've dubbed it. Basically, he's incredibly perceptive. He's able to see something that's wrong and he can fix it. I've described him as young and confident in his own abilities and a little bit weaselly. His trait is cocky little bastard who backs it up when necessary. Or what have you. And
All right.
his like biggest fear is something because he
is what? Sorry.
Like I am good at what I do, and if someone's better than me at something, then I'm not a big fan of it. Was just kind of to live. He was an orphanware on his home planet, so now he's just trying to make a living however he can, and this is his mind the best way to do it.
Indeed. I mean, you guys are going to get paid a lot of money for this, but you also might have to pay in your lives, so we'll see. So that is kind of the backstory and the names and the fluff of each character. So if you guys want to go ahead and do all your stats or your attributes there.
Do you need to know those, Rob?
No. I'm sure I can trust you all.
Well, not even like that. Just like I can't edit the box anymore. The sheet. I can't get the cursor on perception.
Oh, I couldn't either. Yeah.
If you press enter.
Yeah, try pressing enter. They've got really weird. That happened to me earlier when I was making.
Okay. Yeah, I just.
Perfect.
Yeah, mine did that too.
Yeah, you just have to press enter all the way down that middle box. I don't really know why, but there you go. So apart from that, the next thing, once you've done that, is your wound limits. So obviously, when you take a hit in Journey, there's no damage; you just take a wound. So, and then when you reach your wound limit, you go critical, and then you may die, you may survive, depending on how you roll. So your wound limit is just 5 plus or minus your brawn. So if you have low brawn, it does mean that you are sort of a lot more squishy. But then again, brawn's only good for surviving punches and giving punches.
So could you take a look at my scores and make sure they make sense?
Yeah.
Allocated my points properly here?
Yeah. So you've got 2 in intellect. Yeah, looks fine to me.
Okay, great.
Cool. So once we've done wound limit, and we've done our sort of fear goal and trait and everything. The only thing really left to do apart from your defense and attack is your items. So I know I've looked at Dylan's items, and I love that Joe's only got 2 things, and one of them is a hammer. 50% of Joe's character's items so far are a hammer.
He's sentimental.
Yep. So Kozu will have a smart wrench, an oxygen breather, boots, magnetic boots.
And like imagine like fingerless gloves, so they're on your palms, so he can. I want to do the serpentine like crawl, so he can just
yes,
like crawl on all surfaces.
100%. That's awesome.
And then there's a fusion cutter for if he needs more delicate cutting than just wrenching a door open that he can do. The oxy breather thing is because he's paranoid, which we can get into about fear. Smart wrench, I imagine it is just sort of like this multi-purpose tool thing that you can just shove into something and it works. And then like a scanner that he built himself, like to get information from things.
Man, I have the like coolest image of Kozu like climbing up a skyscraper with his mag boots and gloves, and then using one of his like lizard fingernails to cut a perfect circle in a window.
Oh, yeah.
Jumping in.
Apart from his terrible dexterity, so it goes and then it just smashed the window.
He does it, and he doesn't actually get through, so he just punches the window.
Yeah. My stats work out right, don't they?
Currently, I have you only as 2 for brawn and -2 for everything else. Oh no, 2 for intellectual. Yeah, that's it.
That works out.
Yeah.
So super brawny, super smart, but
yeah,
neither of the others.
He is gonna fall off some shit.
Well, he's a lizard. He has really slow reactions.
Yeah.
That's what the mag boots are for.
A laser pistol, a med pack, an omni tool, and 2 things that I'm going to roll for on this lovely.
Ooh, that's very interesting.
I'm going to get random shit.
What, just going to be like med kit and omni tool? Oh, brilliant.
Oh my god, I just rolled 100. Holy shit.
Oh, fuck.
I'm never going to do that in real life. An exploding cigar. That sounds in character.
Yes. That's the coolest thing. Oh my god. This really is going to be a fiasco. Because if there is not a point where you smoke the cigar, turn around and flick it backwards into a puddle of some sort of flammable liquid, I'm never gaming with you again, Liam. I just hope you know that.
And a saddle and tack for riding a local beast.
Interesting. I guess that means the only local beasts would be spaceships. So you've got like a really nice spaceship.
I was about to say,
custom
you want to say Kozu? Like... God damn it!
If you want,
I think you might be a little bit upset by that. I might not do
got
that.
like
I have a lot of wounds.
You've got a backpack like one of those
backpack
what's
for
it
shit.
like things that dads wear for their babies.
The papoose thing.
Yeah, the papoose. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
I mean that doesn't really make if you want to re-roll that one or whatever, that's cool. I imagine that one's.
So I just made that backpack instead.
Oh yeah.
I like the idea of just a backpack that I just pull stuff out of.
Yeah. All right. So defense and attack for you guys, which I think most of you haven't yet done. So your defense is 5 plus your dex plus any armor that you're wearing.
Oh, was that an option?
I gave myself
Yeah,
armor.
yeah. I did.
Sort of armor. I mean,
I think I did say to Dan that I don't know. You have a metal arm, right? Or do you?
Well, not anymore. I think.
Oh, okay. Well,
but I can take one of my items out and put.
Yeah, so you can say I want to have some armor, and then that will basically I'll be like, yep, that counts. That's fine. That counts as armor. Or you could have some kind of like mag shield or something like that, and that will give you a bonus to your defense.
How does defense work? I think I watched the video. Do you just have to roll above defense to hit?
Yeah, so it's basically like AC.
On a D10?
On a D10.
Okay. And armor, just like an item that is armor gives you +1?
Yeah. But again, it's like that accepted by the GM thing, which obviously, isn't really a problem here. But that would be like, if you had like a piece of armor and a shield, you'd probably get +2 for that.
Because it's 2 different items.
Right.
Okay.
But if you had like, if you said, right, I want 2 pieces of chainmail and 2 shields, I probably would say maybe not, But the thing is, your ACs will often end up being low, especially if you're not very dexterous.
Yep.
But because of the way wounds work, I mean, like, say Kozu's wound limit, because he's so massive, his wound limit is 7. So that's going to mean it's going to take him getting hit 7 times to drop him.
Oh, shit.
Which is a lot. I mean...
Is that over the session, or like, again?
Yeah, well, that's like your hit points. So you can heal, but healing is very slow.
Right.
I think it takes a full day of rest to heal 1 wound.
Okay.
And then a week to heal fully, basically.
And if you meet the defense value, is it if I had 3 defense and you got 3, does that mean you still hit?
Yeah. Although, no, sorry, it does not.
Right.
You have to roll above it. Right.
Right. I wasn't too keen on the fusion cutter because I just wanted to be pulling things apart with his hands. So I might just put like natural armor, because I imagine him basically dressed like that, even in a spaceship or something.
Good. That sounds good. Okay.
So I'll put it up to 4.
Yeah.
Defense.
And then your attack, if you're using a melee hit, it's your brawn. If you're using a ranged attack, it's your dexterity. So very simple. So like if you want to do like if you want to have like plus whatever for your brawn and plus whatever for your range, and just put a slash in between them, or however you want to do it, that's good for you. But apart from that, I think we're pretty much there.
You're going to do fears and traits.
Yes.
Do they have a in-game effect, or are they mostly like?
Oh, these motherfuckers have an effect.
Roleplay, okay.
But the effect is up to me. So, like, let's imagine Thom Tum, Joe's character, gets sucked out into space momentarily. He is afraid of the void, which I am currently taking, literal and figurative, so I'm taking that as literal. He's afraid of being out in space. So if he gets sucked out and then gets pulled back in or whatever, I might give Joe the lasting effect, petrified or feared or something along those lines, maybe in shock. And that would have an effect of my choosing. So I might say, right, all your attacks are at -1 from now on until you get rid of that effect. So like, it doesn't necessarily have an upfront effect, but I'll be like, I can sort of determine the effect. Or let's say, you had the fear getting disease like Kozu, which, believe it or not, there is a big disease part in this game.
Why is I was wondering what I had a different thing written down, and then you mentioned the diseases, and I was like, oh, I like that.
Yeah. So if you contract a disease in Journey, that itself would be a lasting effect. So you might get, some disease that makes you feel faint or makes you cough up blood or something like that. And then that would have an effect. And then if you're Dan, getting a disease would also mean that his fear is in play, which would mean that I would amplify those effects. Or maybe, if your fear was, of getting hurt or, dying, maybe your fear is just dying. Like if you took a mortal wound, even if you like healed or were able to, overcome the wound itself, I would still add an effect just because of the fear there. So, it's sort of a more loose way of doing it, but I'm not going to screw you over. I'm just going to make life difficult. But yeah, I think, yeah, that's the classic GM bullshit right there. So I think, as far as I know, everyone's pretty much there. I mean, if anything comes up and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to do this or whatever, then we'll just like we can work it out in a second, So obviously all your current wounds and your effects will be at 0 and non-existent for now.
How do I know what my attack bonus is?
Your attack bonus is depending on what you're using. If you are using a melee weapon, it's just your brawn score, and if you're using a ranged weapon, it's just your dexterity.
Got it.
Apart from that, sounds like we're ready. So I'll let you guys just fill in the last year stuff while I get us started. So
cure wounds effects. I'm sorry, cure wounds effects.
Right. So the way that will work is if you have something like a stim pack, that will be a one-use item that would you stab that into you, heal one wound.
Right.
Or if you have a medical kit, someone can make an intellect check, or if that person was like a medic in the background or a doctor, I'd probably give them a lasting effect of a bonus to that. But this we're just keeping simple in that everyone starts vanilla, and we'll see where it goes. But if you succeed on the check, you get a bonus. And then obviously if it's like if the medicine check was like healing a wound that was I got shot in the shoulder and I need to cauterize it, that's fairly simple, so the check would be easy. But if it's my right leg's come off, I would make that a bit of a harder check to instantly regrow it or fashion a new foot instantaneously. So that
new foot.
I'm pretty sure that was a skill in Pathfinder's create new foot. All right, so we're going to start off. You guys are in a safe house, which is built into the hangar in kind of on Bardoom, and it's the closest hangar to Imis, if you get my meaning. It's basically positioned at this time of year or this time of day actually, to be exactly in between, or to be as close as possible. And so you guys are taking off in this ship in about an hour or so. You're on basically a glorified Skype call with a large orc. He's very fat. He's got this big beer belly hanging out the front of his shirt and kind of overhanging his belt. You know him as Balek. He's kind of been your overseer and your contractor for all these smuggling missions. He's kind of just an administrator and a middleman, and he's just letting you know what you're doing. And so he says, let's just say we've done a deal with the Immiscents. We get Mardust, they get data chips. Nice and simple. All you got to do is go, stop at the bolt for a refuel, and have all your stuff checked. Continue on, get to Imis, drop the goods, and come back the way you came. You'll be going to Imis under the guise of water merchants. You'll be carrying 10 barrels of water. In every barrel, there will be a plastic waterproof bag stuck to the inside, carrying one data chip. There's 10 of these, so that's 10 data chips, and that is an ungodly amount of money. So if you misplace any of it, I will destroy you myself. Remember, water merchants around this area are not wealthy people. So we got you a new ship to benefit in your disguise and befit your lack of gold. It's an old shader in Colworth Mark IV. Don't know what it's called. Something like the Mayfly or something like that. She's loaded up and ready for you. All you've got to do is get there, fly it, a nice and simple, easy job. As long as you don't act like idiots, this should be over in a few days. Do you have any questions for Balek before he signs off? Anything you'd say to him at all?
Do I have my own ship, perhaps?
Pardon, sorry?
Do I have my own ship, perhaps? I am a pilot.
We'll say you have your own ship. But he hasn't, or if you ask that, he'll say that he wants you to use this ship because it looks like a shit heap. Like the way he's described it to you is like, it's actually working quite well, but it's like being painted and dented and all that kind of shit to make it look extra shit. Because water merchant, like Imis isn't lacking in water. So no one buys water, but there's still water merchants, sort of thing.
Let me ask you, what are the chances we run into the law on this flight?
100%. They will be checking your ship, but the way we've hidden these chips, they won't even know it. We've got a couple guys on the inside, and we've told them you're coming. So hopefully they'll be able to be the ones investigating you. So it should be pretty simple.
Can I get any sense from this guy that he is not telling us anything? That there's something more to this mission that maybe he's not communicating?
I'll let you make a perception check if you want to see and notice.
I would love to check. So that's a 5?
Yeah, okay. You've worked with this guy 3 or 4 times before, and all your missions have gone smoothly, just as he said. That being said, he's an absolute bastard of a cutthroat asshole. So he could double-cross you at any point, but he hasn't yet.
And what is his name again?
Belek. I'll put it in the chat for you.
Well, I'll say to him, Belek, you've never screwed me so...
Oh, well, I'm assuming he's going to say you haven't screwed us so far. So we'll just assume that's what he said, and Belek would reply. He would just raise a glass sort of on his side of some kind of brown liquid and say, "Not yet," and just give you a wink and a smile.
Kozu, who's like 8 foot tall or something, like folds his huge meaty arms that are like bigger than like as big as some people's torsos.
Yeah.
And his head very slowly tilts to the side, and maybe like he blinks, and that sort of is called a nictating membrane. That's like the third.
Oh, right, yeah.
The lizards like comes over really slowly from like a horizontal angle, and he goes, "Why would you hide it in clear liquid?"
And he like looks at his drink for a second and like swills it in the glass and kind of strokes his chin and just says, "Huh, that's a good point." Yeah, I didn't think of that. But the only thing I would say is that whiskey merchants, and he like downs his drink, they'd be a hell of a lot richer.
Kozu kind of bristles, and you see like the spines shiver like along his back as he like rolls his eyes. Maybe you get us a better ship next time.
And he just says, "Maybe indeed." But anyway, I've got some people I need to screw over, so unless there's anything else you want to say. And he like leans forward as if to like press some sort of key on his computer, but is waiting for you.
We'll have your piece of shit.
Should be a piece of cake.
No problem.
It better. And he just hangs up.
I'll turn and I'll say to Kozu's the lizard man.
Yeah.
I'll say, "Don't worry, Scaly. I'll get you there and back in one piece."
That would be preferable. Sorry, this human tongue. It's difficult without lips.
Well, and you're the sport, man. That makes consonants, S's in particular, somewhat difficult.
I'm still learning.
That's fair. Well, let's say we get underway.
Yeah. So you guys sort of would leave the office that you're in. It's sort of just this kind of dingy, brown-walled, smoky room. And you kind of step out into the hangar. And you see waiting for you a pitiful ship. It's covered in rust so much that it looks brown, although you see this kind of lighter colored paint underneath. You see some kind of red, scratched writing covered in dirt, and half the letters have been torn off, so it's illegible. And it just looks like the most pitiful, disgusting ship you've ever seen. If it was a car, it would be in a junkyard propped up on cinder blocks without tires on it. It's horrific.
Like my '89 Plymouth Sundance.
I imagine so. Yeah. So the ship, as you said, it's an old shader in Colworth, which are fairly common. Just your standard Ford Mondeo type thing.
Who amongst us is a mechanic?
I can give it a shot. He says smugly because he knows he's definitely going to give it a shot.
Right. I'll go over with Trevor, and I will hack into the ship's computer to see what the computer systems are like while he...
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you go up, and to open the door, you see like across the hangar, one of the other ships that's a bit newer, they press a button next to the door, and the door kind of like opens slowly and stairs come down. You go up, you see the kind of door to this thing, and you feel around for the button, you press it, and it just clang, just falls down. The hinges on it are clearly broken. And just you get hit in the face with like a cloud of dust. It's just like it doesn't smell good inside. You imagine there's some kind of rat that's been in there for 60 odd years, that's just died infested. But you can enter, and it's quite dark inside. All the lights are off, but you see the barrels stored in the cargo hold, and you can see the kind of smudges in the dust where they've been pushed in, and someone's made a hasty exit. And there's a massive kind of on switch next to a key, and so you can just turn it on, and the screens don't turn on for about 2 seconds, which is a long time to sit and watch your computer not do anything before they flicker on. And there's like this kind of, and the screens are black, but you can tell they're on, and they kind of flicker on with this sort of red butterfly looking kind of insignia before switching to the kind of main screen, viewing all your controls and everything. And there's like, you can almost play bingo with the warning lights on the dashboard and that sort of thing. It is a decrepit old machine.
Is there an access panel for a hacking port kind of thing?
Yeah, there is.
I will attempt to use it. I'm going to find out what the ship's name is and if all of its systems are still functioning.
Okay. So yeah, I'll give you an extra +1 for hacking because of your hacking thing there. Your little doobry, so you can do an intellect check and add that +1 as well.
So it's a 7 on the die with +3 makes it a 10.
Yeah, definitely. You've done hundreds of ships like this. And so the information you get, this ship is currently called the Mayfly. Though that ships kind of change names, often depending on their purposes. And that this ship is about 100 years old to the date, almost. And
I'll turn to Trevor and say the ship's called the Mayfly. That's probably a bad sign.
And
it needs a bit of a spit and polish.
That's what they all say. And you also know that it is currently like all the charters and everything are set up, and you have all the legal documentation for a trip, for the trip you're undertaking.
Okay. What's the status of the? Maybe you answered this and I missed it. Of like the engines of like things like that.
Everything like looking at the ship, you'd be like, oh god, I don't want to know. But actually turning everything on, it's like much better than you anticipate. So the engine is like fine, and it's not the original one that was in the machine, definitely. And like all the systems are working functional, and you're confident. You're like, oh okay, yeah, this will make like a fairly simple, easy trip.
Does it have weapons?
It does. It's got just one sort of 360-degree cannon.
Okay.
It's not very high tech and not as much as you'd want. If you could have, anything. But you know, it's got something.
I'll form the group. It's not as bad as we thought it could be.
What'd I tell you? Piece of cake.
We keep her flying. We'll fly her.
Excellent. All right. Well, as you sort of you know, power up the engines and coax all the systems into life, it does kind of, yeah, the engines do sound like functional. You know, they sound like you'd hope them to sound, although there is a lot of like, you know, random rattles around the ship that you're like, I have no idea what's causing that, and I just hope it doesn't break, type things. But all in all, you know, you're confident that it's all right. And as you fly out, we'll just skip ahead. So you know, it's a 3-day trip to get to Humboldt Station, which is where you have to go because it is illegal to carry fuel to get you 6 days ahead. You know, like, they are so careful. So everyone who's going between Imis and Burdom have to stop at Humboldt, and if you don't, it's really suspicious, and you know, you're going to get caught immediately. So that's kind of your first heading, pretty much. So if there's anything you guys want to do or like check out on the ship or talk to each other or whatever, now is the time to do that over this 3-day period that we have to travel.
Can I have a look around and see if I can find where they've hidden the chips?
Yeah, definitely. So in the cargo hold, so this ship is definitely like a small-time cargo kind of trawler. It's like the equivalent of a transit van sort of thing, where it's like, you know, it's designed to hold stuff, but not, you know, a huge load of stuff. And there's, you know, you find these 10 kind of metallically reinforced but mainly plastic barrels, and you know, you can pop the lid, and inside you cannot see any plastic bags of chips, but if you reach your hand in and sort of feel around the inner kind of rim, you feel, oh yeah, there's like a plastic bag and there's like something sort of hard inside of it, but they're not immediately visible looking in.
Can I see if there's a better place to hide them?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you didn't want to hide them in the barrels, you know, there's all sorts of holes that should and shouldn't be there on the ship, so you could hide them in those. There's panels under floor, you know, like in the Millennium Falcon, where they've got the sort of panel in the floor that they all hide in, and you could hide them, say, on the lids of the doors or something. They're just kind of taped on.
I'm gonna consult the group before I start moving shit. Should I put these under some of the floor panels? It might be a little bit harder to find.
I don't care.
I had a feeling you wouldn't.
Scratch.
From, I don't know, my experience of doing this before, how reasonable is it to presume they won't check the barrels of water, or they will open them? Is it standard protocol to open one up?
They'll check like one or two probably, but I mean they have to process so many ships that they're lazy. So you know, you're like, you think, if I'm confident, then if I'm confident and, you know, I assume this is going to work, then, you know, I'll probably manage to, like, that they probably won't check very hard, if you know what I mean. Like, you could probably play it if you're, you know, smooth enough, basically, to where, like, you could probably convince them not to check it, basically. But it would be quite hard, you know. But it's possible.
And this ship we're in is not very big, regardless of hiding spaces.
Like, it's not small, but it's not massive. Like, you could, there's loads of hiding places on it because there's loads of, there's loads of like small gaps and bits where rust have eaten stuff away, and like panels and safes and that kind of thing. So there's an abundance of hiding places, but like you get the impression that the ship could be a hell of a lot better for a smuggling vessel, but then again it is designed not to look like one. So
I think we could find a better hiding place.
I'm in the cockpit, just so I'm not there.
I was thinking, you're probably not able to hear us. So I'm gonna look for a decently inconspicuous floor panel and see if I can hide the chips under there.
All right.
Can I assist in some way?
Yeah. Okay. How about you both make perception checks, and we'll sort of see what you get together.
Am I able to like be intelligent about it and find somewhere that I don't like people wouldn't be able to hide? I mean, would be able to hide things and wouldn't be able to find like easily. So,
okay, how about we
work the problem out?
This would be interesting. How about Liam, you roll perception, Dan, you roll intellect, and we'll see together sort of
Sweet
how the mix is between them.
It's a D10 you roll, right?
Yeah. You only need one die.
Okay, I got 11.
Oh, I got 8.
Okay, fucking hell. All right. So you guys are like, feeling around the floor panels, and you lift a few up. Oh, there's a dead rat. That's disgusting. And as you're going, you kind of lift one up, and then you see underneath it, there's a seam kind of on the inside wall of the alcove that you look in. And you open that, and inside you see like a small kind of probably the size of like I don't know, maybe like a sort of something you could probably fit your head into. Well, maybe not you, Dan, but a human head into. Like there's quite a small gap in there, and you actually find that there's an old laser pistol in there as well. And this is obviously like that hiding place you wouldn't have seen were you not like actively looking for it and done, and being very, very perceptive, basically. So it's like a hiding place within a hiding place. So if like they opened up the floor panel, Dan, you'd probably think like, oh, that would be a hiding place, but there's nothing there. Close it. Never mind. Move on.
Mm-hmm. Kozu knows it's the best place to hide. And you see him like pull out the rat and save it for later.
So yeah, I'm gonna slip those chips in that seam. I'll probably leave the laser pistol where it is.
All right. Cool. So are you
Unless
sticking
anyone
all
wants
10 in there, or are you hedging your bets?
Oh.
Put them all in.
Let's split it in half.
Oh, okay. We're gonna find another one.
Oh, unless. Is it 10 bags of chips?
10 separate bags. They're 10 chips in separate bags that were in separate canisters. But if they find one, they're probably exactly. If they find one, they're going to look for them all. So
let's stuff them all in the seam.
Cool. All right. That was some good rolls to start off. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
Couldn't have done much better.
Yeah.
Is it possible for me to access the ship's log?
It is.
I'd like to do that.
Okay. So you've got about probably 2 months of logs left. Before that, all the data's corrupted, which is like standard fare with what they do in smuggling ships is they sort of remove a lot of the data so that the ship's harder to trace. So you've got, you can see the journey that it came from. It basically planet hopped all through the inner triumvirate just to get here, which kind of gives you the impression that this ship was bought way over in the other side of the triumvirate and brought all the way over here, which, like you think 2 months that it goes back aren't enough time, basically. And you can see all the names of these different pilots. A couple of them you recognize as other guys in the same sort of business as you. So you imagine that it was probably involved in like smuggling jobs on its way here. But nothing that kind of stands out to you as like, oh, that's interesting.
Right. Okay. I'll go down to the lower decks and see if the crew is ready to take off.
Cool. So if everyone's good, then the Mayfly will fly, and it's it's sort of rattly and not the most comfortable, and the seats, you know, they're kind of like really dusty and sort of grimy, and you don't really feel like sitting on them, and you're not looking forward to sleeping in the beds on board. But you're like, whatever, you know. But you can. The ship takes off and flies. The flight's steady and smooth, and unless there's anything you want to do during the flight, you can arrive at Humboldt pretty much at the same time, kind of mid-afternoon on the third day.
How does she handle?
Kind of slow and clunky, kind of like you're driving. It's like you're driving an old car that you feel like has a very high chance of breaking down fairly soon. And so you're trying to be really gentle with it. But like on the whole, not bad. You know, like
let's just hope it doesn't run from the cops.
Yeah. Yeah, so as you come within range of Humboldt, you get the standard sort of and it says, please state your call sign and prepare to land at Humboldt Station.
We'll reply, this is the Mayfly, hauling water.
And it says, okay, Mayfly, please be prepared to come under our control.
Absolutely. And I disengage from the console.
Okay, and you hear like these 3 beeps. It's like a beep, 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 beep. And the last sort of 2 there, the controls kind of go red for you, and you can see the handles or the controls sort of moving them and adjusting themselves as your computer. Essentially, they've like hacked you, basically. But that's standard fare for space stations, and they guide you in. And they just say, Mayfly, please be ready with a charter, and all crew and passengers, please be ready to exit the ship as you're coming into touchdown. And you know that the charter is basically like when you first accessed it and you looked at all the legal documents, basically what they want you to do is just leave that open kind of on the computer, so that they can walk in and just see it straight away. You know, you don't have to have a bit of paper or anything. Okay.
As long as I know that there to be nothing of danger to us in there, I will do exactly that.
Yep. All it says is basically these guys, there's 4 people on the ship, and they're hauling water. And this is the kind of projected flight plan, which is your projected flight plan, and everything's basically exactly as it should. And the ship kind of lands, and it's a bit rockier than you were expecting, because the basically this ship has 3 sort of landing gear, or 3 kind of wheels to land on, and the front one's suspension's broken, so the back 2 land, and the front nose kind of dips down way more than it should, so the whole ship's kind of on an angle. And the door, the voice rings out again and says, "Please exit the vehicle."
Can I remotely wire myself into the cameras on board and watch what they're doing while we're off the plane?
Okay. I will say you can make an intellect check.
Sweet.
To try and do that, because you have to do it quickly.
Do I get a plus for my hacking thing again?
Yeah.
Okay, then it would be an 8 total.
Yeah, okay. You have managed to hack into one of the two cameras. There's one basically above the cockpit and one looking outside, and you've got the one looking outside.
Okay, I was hoping to watch specifically where the loot is to see if they're gonna if they're about to find it.
There's no camera there. You know, okay. It's such a small vessel, but you can see you've got like a perfect view of the front door and kind of in a corridor. So like if you sort of, you know, you'll be able to see them coming and going. But also, I will let you know that that is not legal, and like there's no way for them to figure out that you've done that unless they see you like looking on your tablet or your wrist screen or whatever.
I figured I would see it just in my vision.
Oh yeah, you've got the hacking eyes actually. So yeah. All right, you win this round, I guess.
Does that mean you're blind? Because now all you can see is the camera.
I don't know. I guess it's up to Rob.
He's not blind, but it is overlaid. So I will say you've got a -1 to your perception, which you can thank Liam for, because he is a dick.
Thanks. I feel like you're always doing that shit, Liam.
He's doing my job for me. He should just run the game, honestly. You see two heavily armed dudes, which you would not normally see, but you're like, well, there is a revolution going on, so so they're kind of just these like Black Ops FBI looking dudes. You know, you can't see their faces because they got black shiny helmets on and they're wearing body armor and they got big ass guns. And there's a bored looking official standing next to them. He's got the longest nose you've ever seen, and like a pointed, perfectly manicured mustache. And he's got this kind of space sci-fi clipboard type thing.
I look at him and I say, "Is that the Cybernose 2000? My God, it's beautiful." I was thinking about getting upgraded to one of those. It's honestly, what can you smell with that thing?
Does Pinocchio exist in this universe?
He does not, but there is an equivalent. But he has really long feet, unfortunately, so the joke wouldn't work. Buying shoes is a nightmare for that dude. And he's real. He's not a story. So yeah, you land, and you come out, and the bored-looking official sort of is awaiting your disembarkation, and the door just clang opens, and as you make the joke, he just kind of gives like a scathing, really obvious look at your ship, and like wrinkles his nose, which is like a big deal.
That's a lot of wrinkles,
as you can imagine. Yeah.
Right. Just kind of rolls on rolls.
Once he's done it, he's like physically sweating and panting because he's used all the muscles in his face. But he says, "Very funny. Can I have your names, please?"
I give it. Well, I guess I didn't specify that I have a false identity, but I am a smuggler. Can I have a false identity?
Yeah, sure. Like the charter doesn't say anything about your names.
Okay. My name is Cam Zamra.
Yes. Very well. Next. And he he looks at Kozu.
Are we like lined up in front then?
Sort of. You're kind of standing in front of him, and he's just like,
okay.
You know, you're all together.
So yeah, I would have probably like slithered my way out of the smaller door not meant for me, and then stood to like the full size, which is probably bigger than the two goons, like and him, and then kind of like fix him with a look, but it's that like completely happy, oblivious, beaming look that he has on his picture, just like
and he looks over to you, he's like next, and then like stops kind of halfway through and just does that like slow, like look up at your face. Says, your name, sir?
Kozu. And there's like this big grinning Moor that's like overly friendly, because he doesn't think about using an alias because to him it's just a job. So
yeah, and he writes, he just says, no last name. Then I take it.
Last name, and he kind of like turns his head slightly.
And he
don't have last names on his planet.
Thought not. And then you hear him mutter under his breath something about simple creatures.
Jesus.
I'm very not perceptive, but do you want me to make a roll? Because that
If-
might make a difference to my reaction.
If you want to make a roll, you can make a roll. If
My
you want your
roll-
character not to notice, he cannot notice.
My roll, my character decided not to notice because I rolled 0 equivalent.
Oh, because you've got a negative.
2. I've got a negative 2 and I rolled a 2. So,
That's amazing.
so
He
he's just
rolled
leaving.
a 2 on his like deception or his check to be discreet about it. So
Okay.
you just got him. So I imagine like everyone else is like, oh shit, and like looks at you and like looks at him and is like, oh shit, everything's about to kick off, and you're just standing there with the grin on your face.
Yeah.
And Cam says to Koku, he said that he likes the shade of your scales. I think he was paying you a compliment. I whisper under my breath.
Like Kozu like looks down at him. He probably doesn't get complimented very often, or maybe it's not like part of his society. But that is nice of him. Yes.
I think you might. Maybe you should ask him for a drink sometime. I don't know what the preferences are of your species.
It's difficult to explain.
All right, so the way I imagine this going down is he thinks you heard him say that because he rolled really badly. So he thinks you heard him say that. So he thinks you're now like threatening him, but not like openly threatening him. You know that thing where you're just like, I'd hate for you to have an accident sort of threat. So he's like, yes, and he like kind of takes like a half step back behind one of the bodyguards. And just the 2 bodyguards like look across at each other and like adjust their grip because they just assume that you're gonna fucking kick off at any point.
Well, he's probably oblivious to that, so he like turns and maybe like there's like like crocodiles kind of like hunch and stuff, like kind of look like they're hunching. He sort of hunches over, so he's a bit lower down, but he's still massively high, and his head sort of comes into view. Would you like a drink?
Cam loses his shit. It's freaking.
And like he's like looking through the charter, I imagine, and you say, would you like a drink, just as he reads that you have 10 barrels of water on the ship. So he's like, oh shit, he's threatening to drown me in one of these barrels.
Do I notice that this guy's like terrified? Because obviously the lizard.
Yeah, you can all like notice that he's visibly disturbed, but trying to keep his cool. And he's just
listen, my friend, don't worry about Kozu here. I think he was asking you out for a drink. I don't know. Do you have a bar somewhere on this? I think he might fancy you. I mean, I don't.
He just looks dumbfounded at you, and he's just like, and he kind of like looks up at you and just says, I'm too busy today, I'm afraid. Maybe some other time. And like looks at the 2 guys who like just shrug, and he says, sorry, what's your name? And looks at Thom or Tom, or however you pronounce it.
This Bob.
Bob.
I forgot.
Bob, I forgot.
Might call him last name where we're from.
Scratch.
Bob, your last name is Dingle. Bob Dingle.
Oh.
Maybe.
That's what I thought you told me once. You were very inebriated.
I forgot. And Bob, well, sorry, Thom. He does have his hammer because it is just a hammer.
Yeah.
But he does have his hammer. It's not threatening or anything. It's just kind of hanging off of his belt, But it's he carries his hammer.
So he like looks. He like gives you a look for like half a second. It's like, I don't believe that's your real name, but then like remembers the current situation he's in and just skips past. He's like, whatever, I'm done. And then he'll just look finally at I believe it's just Liam's character, which I've completely. Trevor, that's the one. It was on your overlay and everything. And he looks at you and says, he doesn't say anything actually, he just raises his eyebrows.
What?
Your name?
What?
Your last name?
What?
So your name
He didn't think very hard about this, so he just said the first thing that came to his head.
is what? What?
What?
That's
What?
WUTT What?
Your parents
Pleased to make your acquaintance.
invented.
Listen,
like-
man, in the infinity of outer space, you have to accept that every conceivable ridiculous name is going to be taken.
Well, yes, I suppose so. I'm just like he's just computing the just insane like 10 or 30-second interaction. He's just and he
Do you
says,
do you need my middle name too?
I give you one guess what it is.
and he just says that field is optional, but I suppose.
It's a what?
Sorry.
And
WHUT.
and he just like sighs and just like scribbles. In fact, he just swipes past it, doesn't even write it in, and just says, "And your destination," and looks at the only one of you who he doesn't think is insane, which is Dylan's character, who isn't here. So it is Kozu. He looks at.
Terrified. With a terrified look on his face, I
Yeah,
imagine.
he just says, your destination? And he's like trying not to make eye contact with Kozu.
The eyes do the third eyelid thing.
And he throws up a bit in his mouth. He's like,
That noise is horrendous.
yeah, I haven't been practicing that, but that came out quite well. Emis.
yes, yep. Oh, your cargo?
Water.
Yeah, we told you that.
Water.
Of course you did. Apologies. Do you have anything else to declare?
And like Cozy like thinks for a moment and like his head cocks.
Oh no.
I would
No,
really like that drink with you.
And he just sighs and like puts the clipboard to his side, and one of the bodyguards who giggles says, "Sir, I believe you're legally bound to put that on the dossier." And he gives the guy the most evil look, and the two of them are like shaking, trying not to laugh. And it's kind of like trying not to laugh at the back of a class, where you're like trying not to laugh so you don't get in trouble.
That's exactly what I imagined.
They don't want to get killed by a giant lizard, and so they just go like, or he just like gives the guy an evil look and types it in, and he says, "Well, I really cannot go for that drink with you, I'm afraid. But maybe one of these gentlemen will." And they both just like, "No, I can't. I'm work and I'm on this shift," and they're like scrambling for excuses.
As they're doing that, like Kozu's head is just like turning to each one of them as they like quail.
Yeah.
Fear.
I have to say, I'm very proud of you for expanding your horizons. You're a very open-minded space being.
Like I said, I'm learning.
Yeah. The world is
What was the name of your speeches again, Kovu? Kozu, excuse me.
Crocs. Krox.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Oh my god. Okay, this is amazing. So then he's just like, right. Okay, that's everything. Your ship is in the queue for inspection. Just go and enjoy the lobby and the waiting area. There's a bar there, which I will not be joining you at, but you may go and drink. But I must ask that you keep it civil and answer any questions you are asked by any employees. Thank you. And he just like runs. Like he is almost beyond walking at this point. He's just like walking as fast as he can, and the two bodyguards are like don't notice he's gone for like half a second, and then like do a double take and realize he's not there and sort of jog after him.
Well, that's the most entertainment I've had in 3 days. And I pull out a cigarette from my backpack and light it with a lighter from my backpack.
Out of character? Which cigarette are you lighting?
We've sort of
cigarette, not a cigar.
Cigar is sort of,
okay, cigar. Right. Okay.
Yeah, not the exploding one.
One's gonna blow up. I hope.
That
Can we roll for it?
Yeah. You've got 10 cigarettes, so you got to roll a d10 every time, and if you roll a 10, it explodes.
Well, I know he has exploding cigars, so I know his cigars explode.
Yeah. So
there's cigarettes, and then there's the cigar.
Yeah, right.
So you'll know.
So all this, our door falls off. All this time has our door just been lying on the floor?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't fall off. It's on its hinges, but it's not got the like slow release, so it like clangs open.
Okay.
So like it's the aircraft doors that like have the steps built into the back of it. It's one of those, but it just like falls open.
Okay. Kozu like grabs the lip of the stair and just like slams it back up. And
this is amazing because it takes like 2 or 3 tries. So that you like open it and then it just falls again and you just clang, clang, clang. And you hold it there and like, when you're trying to close a washing machine, like they're the hardest things in the world to close. So it's like that where you got to like push it in and put pressure in the right spot. And then you like move your hands away.
I'll never do that again in my life. Closing the spaceship door is like closing the door of a washing machine.
Makes you feel safe, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, it won't run unless the door is closed. Those things, they're safe. All right, so there's a few things you can do here while you're waiting. You can go to the bar. There's basically a duty free, and we'll assume that you guys have like a small amount of space currency. We'll call them units. I think I called them in the original campaign. But like, I'm not really going to put a number on it. So if you want to buy something, you can go ahead and have a look. But it's mostly like giant Toblerones.
Oh my god!
or giant Toblerone equivalents.
Are they like in octagons or something more space shapes?
Yeah,
Right.
they're based
Really
instead of being based on mountains, they're based on moons. So they're just like basically chocolate buttons strung after the other. And then there's just like a load of really uncomfy seats you can sit on.
I will just kind of post up and maybe sit at a bar, have a cheap drink, and watch what the goings on at the ship as best I can.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey Kozu, you want me to take you up on that drink?
Kozu, you see like the smile go all the way back because of his huge mouth, just more teeth than you've ever seen. Yes.
Now, here's just one thing I want to broach here is, how does a giant lizard man drink? Because, like...
There's enough, I imagine.
Probably. But like, the physics of it, pouring a drink into a mouth, would be interesting, that's all I'm saying.
So they might have like special like fluid bladders that you could just throw in your mouth and digest for people like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I imagine it's a bit like how crocodiles eat. If you see their rip chunks and then they flick it back and they keep tipping their head up until it like falls in. So like he would have to like do that with the liquid.
Maybe he just uses a really big straw.
Or that.
But yeah, so you guys, I guess, are going to the bar there.
Are you coming, Bob?
I'm going to hang out with the captain.
Oh, am I the captain?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah.
No, you may very well not be the captain.
Yeah, who knows? But he's calling
captain.
No,
That's all.
I think he just promoted me, Bob.
Does that mean we'll all hang out together at the bar, like proper lads?
Aye, captain.
So you go and you can all order drinks. I don't know what drinks you want, but if you want to make up some drinks that you're drinking, or say the sort of thing you're looking for, I'd be happy to.
Do they serve the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster?
I was going to ask the same question, damn it.
They do. Which look at that
Wait, I'm gonna-
coincidence.
Is it
Well, I
within
will
my
not,
price
I will
range?
not have one of those because I do not want to have severe brain damage.
I will, if it's within my price range.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm googling star system names so I can come up with something funny.
Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely get a Pangalactic Goggle Blaster, and the the bartender's name is Zaphod, believe it or not.
Oh my!
I had to resist putting a towel as one of my equipment pieces.
Yeah. I would have given you +1 to all your skills.
Damn it!
No.
But yeah, so you guys are sitting, drinking, having existential crises or whatever happens. I haven't read those books in so long. And as you're sort of sitting there drinking, you can see there's like kind of like departure boards, but they're inspection boards, and your ship's about halfway down, so you probably got like a 2 or 3 hour wait. You're just drinking, and as you're sitting there, you hear some kind of commotion coming from the kind of main lobby. It's sort of like an airport where it's all like open plan sort of thing. So rather than everywhere having doors, it's just sort of big gaps in the wall to get through to different places. And you see that there's some kind of like everyone's sort of turning and looking, but you can't quite see where they're looking. And then kind of marching into view are these 4 Marines walking in a sort of square formation, and in between them is 2 guys handcuffed, and you recognize one of them as one of Belek's smugglers.
I immediately put my hat down over my face.
Can I just say, I think I've worked out the fan art for this episode is Trevor sitting on a bar stool with a drink, with a crocodile, like an 8-foot crocodile man next to him, sitting across 2 bar stools, like propped up with his tail. And then there's just like they both have drinks, and like mine just has like one really, really curly straw going all the way up into my mouth. And it's just like a silhouette of those 2 from behind with the bar illuminating them.
That's just so amazing.
That's my fan art.
I'm so tempted to commission that and make a module out of this just so that I can have an excuse to purchase that art from somewhere. So
I'll chip in.
So as you see these guys walking through, and so 2 of them are smugglers, and they're just leaving a sort of staff-only interrogation room, is the kind of sign above the door, and they're walking out towards the hangar.
Do we know that Zam's hacked into the camera thing so we can see outside of our ship?
Yep. So actually,
Are they going towards our ship?
yeah, so you can kind of swivel that camera to see pretty much most of the hangar if you want to.
I would love to.
And conveniently, and you see them walk out, and they kind of go over to a wall, and they open a door and kind of shepherd them in there, close the door, twist the handle and pull it out, and you see them just get sucked into space.
Oh shit.
Like, they don't say anything.
It's party exactly what just happened, and quietly under my breath. I said, there's a good chance they know we're here, and they might be coming for us.
Can you communicate with us, or is that just a thumb?
No, you're all at the same bar, I imagine.
Okay.
There's only one.
I was thinking we're all new about the same place.
Yeah.
My thought was that if you guys were sitting at the bar together, that me and Thumb were
A distance.
like off at a table sort of adjacent.
Right.
To each other.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you're all in the same bar, so like you can
Right.
come over and say it if you need to or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
So
Do
you
like intro us
explain.
over. I chug my sonic screwdriver and then we head over.
So you two, enjoy your drink casually, look lovingly into each other's eyes. Don't draw suspicion. but two of our friends just got blasted out of an airlock, and I wouldn't be surprised if they told them exactly who we were and why we're here.
Are you sure they know we're here?
We're gonna have a serious problem.
I'm not sure. That's just the best guess.
I look at like whatever the departure hollow screen or something is saying about how long we have yet to wait before we should leave.
Hour and a half.
Maybe we can keep our heads down for that long.
You see him try and hunch over, so he's only like 7 foot tall rather than 8. Does this help?
What did you do?
Yeah, you're doing God's work.
All right, I've got a thought. Hold on, sit here. Keep doing what you're doing. This is great, by the way.
Team bonding.
And I'm going to go over to Bob. I'm going to say, hey, Bob, quietly, just come watch my back for me, would you?
Uh-huh.
That's what I was thinking. So I'll find it. If I can find an access panel someplace, I'd like to try to hack into the security, not the security system necessarily, but the ship's database or the station's database. Maybe try to get the security operations, see if they have the information that might indicate whether or not
Okay.
it's been exposed.
So this will be. So yeah, there's like kind of panels, like R2D2 panels.
Yep.
Sort of thing, like all over the place for admins to use. But this is going to be a high risk sort of thing. So if you get caught doing it or whatever, they'll probably just kill you. And like if you're not good enough with the hacking, then they'll like find you sort of thing. So
Right.
this
If I fuck
is
it up,
like,
there's a good chance there's that I'll die.
yeah. So but if you do it, like you'll get all the information. So it's high risk, high reward.
Sure. Well, fuck it.
All right.
Oh dear.
So what I'm gonna need and
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, you could ask for help, but you
so
did.
well Bob's
Right.
watching your back, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, that's bound to be a big help.
Okay. So Bob, perception check and a hacking check from yourself there, Zam.
That's a 6.
Ooh.
Oh, here we are.
Uh,
I got a 4.
Oh yes. Okay.
I don't like the way you said that.
Yeah. So Zam, you're hacking it and you get some files, but like it's in levels. So there's you have to have different security clearances, and you only managed to get to the most basic one, which basically just gives you the logs of all the ships coming and going. And you can see that one of the ships is like in red and has like a flashing yellow alert symbol next to it. And that's called the Stingray.
Okay.
And you've probably flown in the Stingray before. It's a smuggling ship through and through.
Okay.
But apart from that, there's not really much else apart from a load of other random ships.
Okay. As long as our ship is not marked in a similar way, I'll withdraw and I'll go back to the...
So as you withdraw, you just see like a box kind of flash onto the screen and just this green text go by that's in some kind of code you don't know, but it like pops up just as you kind of log out.
Can I attempt to decipher it?
You can, but I'll take another hacking check, see if you can decipher it.
That's pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry. My last roll was actually a 7 because I forgot the +1 for my hacking tool.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that changed
Same
anything.
deal. It doesn't, I'm afraid.
Okay. And the secondary check was an 11? Nope, 12.
Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, you can't it only flashes for like a couple seconds, but what you see is like, the standard like auth user, and then you just see the words identify, hostile, and hack.
Is it looking for input from me?
No, it's just like, it's as if it's like someone's typing and they've taken control of your computer.
Gotcha.
So you get the impression someone's realized you're in there.
Okay.
Basically.
I'm gonna try to out-hack them to try to turn off the security cameras in this area, and then try to get the fuck out of here.
All right. That'll be another hacking check.
That's an 8.
Shit. Okay. Can we? Okay. Well, they rolled an 8 as well. So can you re-roll, please? We'll have another roll off.
Damn, this guy's good. Oh, that's good. That's a 10.
Well, unfortunately, they rolled a 9. But that gets them to a 14. So, you kind of like, they're just typing faster than you. You reckon this is probably like 2 guys. So that turns off. Bob or Thom,
Right.
You notice nothing until about 10 feet away from you, maybe 20, come 2 like these Black Ops Marine guys, just like jogging. And you're like, yeah, well, oh, there's 2 guys. Yeah. Oh shit, they're the guys I'm supposed to be watching out for, sort of thing. Like as they're right in front of you.
All right.
And they just point weapons at you and say, so I'm going to need you to come with us. And then 2 more kind of come around from the other corner and start sort of pointing at you, but moving towards Zam. And just say, stay calm, put down your hammer, if you're holding your hammer. And they just like are basically trying to resolve this peacefully and try and get you to come with them. Like and they just point their guns at you and say, get on your knees.
Do they see me as well, or is this happening like around the corner?
Yeah, no, this is like 2 of them have basically come for you. Okay. So basically what you think's happened is these 2 guys have identified which like panel has been hacked, basically. And so they've sent dudes to that panel. And you can hear like more of these army boots running towards you, your location.
All right, well, can I just turn to them and say, hey guys, they went that way, and just point?
You can. All right. We're going to have a straight bullshit dice roll off, yeah? Roll a d10. They roll a d10. No modifiers. See what happens.
3.
Oh.
7. So what happens is these guys like run towards you. You say they went that way. They all like stand. Just one of them shouts, "Get on the ground." One of them like turns and looks where you're pointing and like looks around the corner and then sees that no one's joined him and sort of comes back, like hoping no one noticed that he was an idiot. And then just say, "Get on the ground."
I will go down on my knees, and I'm going to say quietly, Thom, hold your breath. I'm going to pop open my wrist, like it just like right here, it like just pops backwards, and there's an open canister. I'm going to launch a gas canister just at the ground.
Yep.
That will be like knockout gas.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So
once it kind of obscures the area, I'll be like, Thom, run!
Yeah, and also Tom's got his hammer in his hand now, and he's not kneeling. He's waiting on the captain, so he's still standing there.
So they see the gas pop up, and it just, and these guys, 2 of them start shooting. They're gonna have a negative though because of the gas. Okay, that one's definitely gonna miss. Okay, does a 7 hit you, Thom?
A 7. My defense is 6.
So
I'm saying yes.
So you take 1 wound.
Oh!
As this guy just shoots you, and it hits you kind of shoulder. And it's they use these kind of hollow point bullets, but it just goes straight through you. You think it probably is slightly fractured, or like maybe not fractured, but it's severed something and it really hurts, but it's mostly just a flesh wound. So it's not the most painful thing in the world. But yeah, you guys book it, and the guys follow you. Where are you running?
I don't know. I don't have much of a vision of the map.
So if we're looking like at a top-down view of the map, right? Mm-hmm. The map is kind of shaped like an 8. The bottom is the hangar. The bottom kind of circle or square is the hangar, and the top one is the kind of waiting area. So on the bottom left corner of the top bit is the bar, and you're next to the bar at the nearest access point. And on the right-hand side is the duty-free kind of shop area. And there's like buildings, or there's rooms off to the side that's all like the staff-only interrogation, seizing, cargo hold. That, all the kind of admin stuff is off to one side as well.
Okay, just to make things a little bit more difficult, for Zam and his escape. Tom is really, really mad that guy shot him. Like really, really, really mad. Okay. And he really doesn't want to run away. He really wants to run around a corner and wait with his hammer and put it in his good hand and crush that guy's skull. But he knows he knows his limitations. He knows Zam is smarter than him. So every few feet, Zam's got to turn around and look to make sure that I'm following him.
That's
because
perfect.
if he doesn't, I'm not following it. I'm waiting on those guys.
So it's like you're trying really hard, like not to follow him, but he's like, yes. Come on, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm coming on.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, how about this, Thom? How about we pull the old Wookiee prisoner routine?
Get it? What about my hammer?
Well, you could. Well, you use the hammer to. Just roll with it.
Okay.
You'll get to use the hammer. Don't worry.
So you guys start sprinting away.
Wait, no. Instead, what I'm suggesting that we do actually wait for them to charge after us, and then you smash them and we take their outfits.
And this is just cloud of gas. There's bullets flying. And what are the other two doing?
I mean, how far away? Yeah, exactly. Can we see? Can we hear?
So you saw all the Black Ops guys running in. Like this is just outside the bar you're in. So they're probably like maybe 30 to 60 feet away from you. Probably about 40, we'll say. Kind of just outside the bar, and you like hear that. You see the bullets, and you hear the explosions, or not explosions, but you hear the gas going off, and you hear them being shouted at to stay on the ground.
And it's absolutely definitely that I can perceive this even with my total lack of perception.
Yeah, like this is like, this is as if this happened like just down the, just right behind you.
How many special ops guys are there that chase them, or how many are around in the...
There's 5 guys there at the moment, but there's, they're like, if there's shooting, there's more coming, and there could be like 100 on this station.
Okay, because I would probably... I know that having done this kind of job before.
Yeah.
I'll have the only 2.
So, you probably get like the side eye from the crocodile eye as he watches you without having to move his head, kind of thing.
I'll have so much respect for you if you just say, "I order another drink." Is there a problem there?
They said for us to stay cool, didn't they?
They've been rumbled. We haven't.
Yeah, another round.
Exactly.
If they come near us, then we'll help. But if they're, I continue to drink.
Our delivery was the mission.
Oh damn. Okay, so
I like the way you think.
Thom and Cam, what do you guys do? Cam? Is it Cam? Something like that. Zam
Cam.
Zam Cameron. Interstellar Man of Mystery. He will... Okay, so what's the situation? Are they kind of in the crowd?
So they're in the bar. The guys are like... The Black Ops guys are like coughing, and like one has fallen over. But like the rest of them are chasing you. They were kind of momentarily distracted, but no, they've sort of seen what's happening. They pulled down their visors and they're running after you. So there's 4 chasing you.
So have we gotten around a corner from them yet or not?
Yeah, I'll say like you kind of went out and left, so you're sort of around a corner, but they're just coming around that corner.
Okay.
Shit, I don't know. I guess I will.
We can keep running. It's just,
Yeah. The only place for you to really run, though, is into the hangar, which is like you'd have to basically run in a wide circle to get back the way you came, or like into the interrogation rooms. Or you could do a Benny Hill and just run around one room, being chased by guys, just around like all the seats, dodging past like the dudes just waiting to get.
They shot me once already, though. They'll shoot.
They did.
They're mean.
They are.
Well, what do you say, Tom? You wanna beat these guys up, and I'll shoot them in the face with a laser?
I'll take that as a no.
Yeah. I will turn around the corner and pop open my other wrist with my hand cannon, and just ready it for the first guy to pop out of the cloud.
Perfect.
And now Tom will, at this point, he will. He's looking for any place to get an advantage with his hammer. If there's like a little bit of if there's an alcove he can duck into, if there's a loose ceiling panel that he can jump or if he just has to stand there and bring the first guy.
The corner has like a bit that juts out,
right?
Because there's a panel there, so it's like a little sort of bit that juts out.
He'll take it.
So yeah, you can go there. But before we do that, let's roll initiative, which there is no modifier for. It's just a straight roll.
D10, correct?
D10.
Then I got a 10.
Oh,
I got
shit. You got what?
7.
7. Dan and Liam, you guys can roll as well.
Oh, can we?
You may. Wow.
Okay.
You can only drink like 1 sip every 6 seconds. So.
Okay, good. I was going to say I rolled a 9, but it's minus dex, isn't it, for me?
No, it's nothing. So
it's nothing. Okay,
yeah.
So I got 9. So I'm a speedy drinker. Are they running around the figure of 8 while we're like in the bar around the middle, and they just
pretty much
passing us by?
This is, guys. Like I know it has nothing pretty much to do with the system, but this might be one of the best games I've ever been a part of. It's just so perfect. All right. What did you get, Liam?
A 7.
7. Oh man. Okay. Well, no surprises. Thom, you're up first.
Well, I am waiting for them to come charging through the gas and around the corner.
Defo.
And I am sticking out one of my big feet to trip the first guy. And as soon as he goes down, the next guy comes around the corner. I'm hitting him in the face with a hammer.
That's amazing. All right. The guy will just make a dexterity check. You don't have to roll to trip him. Okay. Damn. That was a natural 3. So he is on his face.
Yes.
And yeah. You can make your attack roll to hit the guy. So that would just be D10 plus your brawn.
I got an 11.
That hits. That's a wound. So
Nice.
So you guys, you just crunch into this guy, and his helmet is like bulletproof, and is like been rigorously tested and put through the most violent, horrific test. You know, it's gas mask proof, or it's gas mask enabled. It's got this basically bulletproof, shell-proof, bomb-proof, and you just crunch right through that with your hammer. Like, you could probably take out a tank, you know? Like, you just peel it open, and you break his nose and smash in his face, and he just falls back. He would scream if he had any teeth.
Well, good for him.
I mean,
but it's their go now. He's just going to stumble blindly, just like waving his gun in one hand and just trying to get away from the monstrous beast before him.
Well, now see, they all look the same. So I don't know which one shot me. So I'm equally enraged at all of them.
So there's the guy on the floor is just going to use. He's just going to try and scrabble to his feet, but he's also going to scrabble away from you, and he's going to like crawl away from you and then get up, which is going to take his whole turn, because to get up is going to take like his whole turn, and then to move and to crawl away, he's going to have to dash. And then the other two guys are just going to shoot. One's going to shoot at you, and the other one is going to actually use this kind of cord thing. So we'll do the shot first. Okay. That is going to be a what's his bonus? A 6.
My defense is a 6.
Okay, so he hits you.
I thought you said that you had to beat.
Oh no, yes, you're right. He doesn't hit you. I'm still in. There's different systems, and yes, he doesn't hit you. Thank you, Daniel.
Woohoo! Yes, thank
So,
you.
yes.
Never heard about Daniel before. That's very interesting.
Well, he only gets called it when he reminds me of rules I invented.
That's very specific.
It's a special privilege, really.
Happens more often than you realize, actually. I guess I've twice. Anyway, and so he misses you. So he's just seen you take out 2 of his colleagues in one movement, basically. So he's like, "Oh shit!" and just kind of fires off. He probably kills some like innocent bystander waiting to go to his family. You know, he's just got back from a month-long trip, and he's an actual water hauler, and everyone thinks that he's a smuggler. And it was his last trip before he retired. He's gonna get a huge grant from the government.
Was he getting too old for this? I bet he was
getting too old for this shit. And he just had his teeth redone, and he got shot in the mouth, and it was just this whole thing. And the other guy is going to shoot kind of, you know, like rifles have the kind of tube on the bottom that you can shoot grenades out of. Well, that shoots like a whip out of it, which attempts to wrap around your arm. So you can make a dexterity check to try and move your hand out of the way.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
I got dexterity 0, and I got a 7.
All right. Well, with his roll, there was no way you could actually beat it.
No.
Because he rolled like a 12. So it just wraps around your arm and like instantly cuts into your flesh. So you don't actually take a wound; it just hurts like a bitch. And now it's going to be strength checks, basically opposed to pull against each other. Which that guy, should he survive this, is going to probably regret for the rest of his life. Is trying to go toe to toe with you on strength. But here we are.
Rolled a 7 and plus 2.
Yeah, well, we'll do that on his
next turn. Okay, gotcha.
Or your next turn when the actual tug of war is happening.
Oh, next time it'll be a 1. You watch.
Whoa. Kozu.
So, this fight is going on. Are like ships starting to pull out? Are people like hurriedly kind of running from the area or evacuating?
Yeah, people are basically all running like to the opposite end of the room, like trying to get away, but they can't actually fly their ships yet until they've been inspected.
Right.
So like people are moving into the hangar, but there's like a whole contingent of Marines there stopping people from just flying away.
Oh, okay. But we've been inspected, right?
Not yet.
Ongoing.
Yeah, it's still on the board. You've probably got like another hour
till the inspection comes. So the thing when we declared, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we'd already been.
No, you'd been registered, but not inspected. It's this whole fucking bureaucratic process.
So we are kind of stuck because I was just gonna start, just walk over and start fueling up the ship. Like he doesn't know any better. Like just,
I mean,
people are busy.
You could try. You know,
I could try, but you said there was a lot of people. So instead, maybe he'll take 6 seconds for the liquid to travel up his incredibly spirally straw to get to his mouth.
And then it's gonna take another round for the liquid to go from his mouth like 4 feet down or whatever to his stomach.
Yeah, So yeah, he does that, and he does the slightly. You probably flinch the first time he does it, where he does that sort of kickback, like with his head to like throw all the liquid back down his throat.
Yeah, I'm almost like half imagining him just like doing a shot and then just like putting his gun upside down on his shoulder and just firing off a couple shots. Just doesn't give a shit. Zam, what are you doing?
So I'm gonna take a shot at the guy who tried to grapple.
Yeah, go for it.
How do you like 7?
I like a 7 because it hits.
Yeah, but how do I do damage?
It's just 1 wound.
Oh, right.
So he, and these guys will go down quickly, because they're just sort of grunts, but they're highly trained grunts. So he just like takes one, kind of straight in the his right arm, sort of cutting into his muscle, and he just like, you hear him just go, ah, fuck, and just like starts screaming swear words and like ducks down behind it and just lets go of his gun, which is attached to Film. And he just lets go of it because his pulling arm is got fucked, and he just like pulls out a pistol.
Who is it? Who else is left? Is it just this one guy?
So there's the dude getting up from the floor, there's the dude with his face caved in, and there's the guy you've just shot.
Okay. Can I just 1 action per turn?
Yeah. You can move though.
I will move away from this situation, and if I can, I will take a second and like, picturing my hair is kind of long. I'm gonna take one of my finger lasers, and just cut my hair, throw my jacket off, and like turn my shirt inside out so it's a different color.
All right. Yeah, I'll allow that kind of as you're moving.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that. And finally, Trevor. You just gotta keep.
And I'm seeing all this go down, right?
Yeah.
I thought about it. Do I see Zam running up and changing his appearance?
You do.
I kind of I'm just gonna keep drinking. Got my cigarette. I'm just gonna gently puff on that and just be like, if
Well,
they
to
need
be
me,
honest,
let me
like,
know.
if you make it through this, there's no way they're gonna believe that you guys are guilty, because you two are just.
They're also remind them to check the security cams, and we're just sitting there drinking the entire time.
The barman's like hiding behind the bar, just hiding. You're like, another one. He just like looks at you with a fearful expression because he doesn't want to stand up and take a bullet. But he's also afraid of the giant crocodile looking at him.
Yeah, yeah. Like Kosa wasn't afraid of all the fighting going off and the occasional laser bolt or bullet or something blasting around. And I imagine Trevor's on the other side, so he just like the bullets would have to come through Kozu, so he's like sheltered.
All right, we're back to the top. It's Thom. You've now got this thing hanging off you with a big heavy gun on the end.
Okay. I have between me and Zam, who I've seen what's going on with him. Not terribly perceptive, but it's there.
Yeah.
So I am going to the large gun, which I imagine is not much dissimilar from the pulse rifle that I left on the Mayfly. I'm going to pull that gun toward me with this rope thing that's wrapped around my wrist.
Sure.
And then I'm going to step to the guy who is getting up or has gotten up, and use that large gun to brain him in the back of his helmeted head.
I'm so happy because I thought you were just gonna cave and shoot him with it, but I'm so happy you're just like, this is a weapon that people use to shoot.
Right.
To me, it is just another heavy thing.
I just want to bash his head in.
Although I am gonna say I was half hoping for you to like Witch King and just use it as like a massive.
I was gonna do that. Like if it was in the same situation, yeah, you just grab it and you just swing it and then just hit someone with it.
But no, you club this dude. So yeah, make a attack roll.
Excellent. I got a 7.
And yeah, that hits. Which guy was it again you were going for?
That was the guy who had gotten up. The guy whose face I caved in.
Yeah.
has a caved in face. The other guy scurried the other way.
Yeah, cool.
So this guy's between me and Zam, and I still understand. Zam's my best chance for getting out of here.
Right. So he like finally gets up and he's got his back to you and he like pulls his gun to shoot Zam and you just smash him in the head. And he just goes down. He just gets up and goes right back down. And so I'm actually gonna give him the lasting effect, dizzy, which is gonna mean he's gonna have a negative to his attacks because he's been hit in the head and got up and down twice quickly. And so he's going to get up again and try and shoot you, Tom, but he's going to have a bad time of it. And I'm natural too.
Oh, nice.
He like shoots a mirror that just bounces it right back in. Is that bad? All right. And the other two guys, the one with the hammer, who you hammered in the face, is like he's taken off his helmet and his face is a mess, embedded with blood, glass. His two front teeth are missing, but he pulls a pistol and just aims it and squeezes the trigger at you.
Oh,
fuck's sake! But that is going to be a 4 to hit.
My defense is 6.
6, right? So it just sails past you, and he's just like, you see, he's got one eye like bruised shut, and he just swears again, and like. Just basically shits himself. The last guy who just took a bullet in the arm, like comes around, kind of bracing his arm with the other arm and shoots you with a pistol as well, or attempts to. Oh my god, that's the third 2 I've rolled in a row.
Yes!
So he misses as well.
You're indestructible, man.
So these stormtroopers are failing. Kozu. What would you like to do?
He's not got anything else to do but keep drinking, so
amazing.
he might like order like an olive plate or something. I don't know.
The barman just like looks around. He just looks around and just like grabs like from behind the bar, you know, like those like hanging things of packs of peanuts. Just gives you like the whole pack of packs of peanuts.
Yeah, still attached, like on that thing.
Which I'm just picturing the next round is going to take dexterity checks for you to use your enormous hands to open these tiny packs of peanuts.
I might get assisted, you know, have a teammate with me.
Zam, what would you like to do?
So I would like to. So how many guys are still fighting Tom?
There's 3 left.
3.
All of them look like shit.
And I am still trying to follow Zam, so
yeah.
Sort of.
If there's distance between Tom and the 3 guys that are left, I'll fire another gas pellet at them.
Okay.
This time something that will like choke them.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I will say you only have 1 gas pellet left after that.
Okay, I have 3.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I will wait for Tom to come back, and once he can see me, I'm gonna like use my wrist laser to cut open, or like a screw, or like get open a
like a hole in the okay.
And I'm gonna try to get into the ventilation system.
Okay, well, to shoot and to do that would be 2 things. So you can do one of them this turn and one of them next turn if you want.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do the gas pellet this turn.
Sure. So that'll be okay. Right. So one of them actually starts choking really badly, and he's the one who got hammered in the face, and he falls down like clutching his throat, tearing at his throat. The other 2 are coughing, but like have shielded their mouth somewhat, but are like trying to escape. So they're like retreating at this point from the cloud, and one of them is lying on the floor dying because his helmet got caved in. Who's it? Trevor.
I turn to Kozu and say, "Give me that packet," and then I open the packet for him and give him it back.
This is the single greatest combat I've ever run.
Thanks.
Roll for peanuts.
We die, and they just like complete the mission, having done nothing but drink and eat peanuts.
Eat peanuts,
That's
right?
the mission. That's the mission.
No, it turns out they get picked up for drunk driving.
Oh wait, neither of us can drive. Shit.
Look,
You said piloting was intelligent. So,
Yeah. Yeah, like,
Oh, you
supposed
probably
to
were
be good.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is like
we're all right then. We're sorry.
piloting is like driving, where most people can do it, except most people don't do it professionally, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
yeah.
So like, you know, a pilot is like someone who's proven to be, you know, a good enough, like, you know, you wouldn't just trust anyone to drive a bus. You know, you've got to give them special training to drive a bus because it's much bigger and harder. So like anyone can fly, but like a pilot has to be a really good flyer to be hired as a pilot specifically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or have pilot vision.
Right. So Thom, it's your go.
My mutie wouldn't unmute. There we go.
Nice.
Okay. So we have 2 who are still resisting actively, or did I miscount that?
But they're moving out of the fog, so they're kind of retreating away from you at this point.
They're retreating away. Okay, if they're going away from me, I'm going to go toward Zam.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing this time, this
Okay.
turn. Getting toward him and then continuing to do the thing he asked me to do, which was watch his back.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Can you get this panel open? We got to get inside the ventilation system. We're going to hide out in there.
Okay.
All right, you can make a brawn check to try and rip it open then.
All right. That would be... Aha! I rolled a 10.
Oh,
so...
sweet. So you go to rip it open, and just as your hands are about to touch it, it falls open.
Yay! Although I'm a little disappointed by that. So...
Yeah, you're like, oh. You're like tense for your muscles. Yeah. Okay, the Marines on their turn are just going to run away, chattering into their radios. And we'll say that that's the end of the combat. So you guys climb into the ventilation system. Thom, like, you're bending the walls of the system, like the you know, the pipe, basically. It's like the square shaft, and you're like, basically everywhere you go is like got 2 rivets in the side from your shoulders. But I think we'll take a break here, guys.
Okay.
And we'll come back in 5 or 10 minutes. If that's cool with everyone.
Sure. I have to pick up my girlfriend in like 15 minutes. And
Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do is I'll just autopilot you for a bit then, Dylan, and then whenever you get back, you can just jump right back in.
Okay, that's no problem.
Just so we're not going too late. Cool. Thanks. Awesome. All right. Well, this has been fucking amazing so far.
I'm really craving a Toblerone right now.
Wow. There's a duty-free right across. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.
Thanks, man.
Oh man, I have no idea what's gonna happen here.
We have like another hour, 15 minutes or something to wait until we get specs.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much dead on an hour at this point.
Okay.
But Jesus, like it was called Fiasco at Humboldt Station for a reason, because I basically put a load of stuff in there that was like, all right, at some point, like these are different ways I can make just everything kick off, and then the way it kicked off was not one I had put in the game at all, not one that I expected, not one that should have happened, you know? And it's just kicked off so much worse than I thought. Like, I was expecting you guys to basically, like, surrender, get interrogated, and then have to, like, roleplay through that. But instead, you split the party, and half you're fighting, half you're just drinking.
I mean, we're professionals, some of us at least.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, you know, if I'd hired you to do a job, I'd much rather, you know, you do what you did.
Yeah. I mean, like, I wondered if that was our inspection and we were just, like, waiting to be refueled or something, which is what I initially thought. Like, during that kerfuffle, I was just going to, like, refuel it, and then, like, we could just fly out of there. And, like...
yeah, so basically you're put on a waiting list. Yeah, and then you have to wait for them to go through your ship, because there's, like, hundreds that come in every day.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just a matter of waiting. I mean... I could turn around at the next guard that ran past me and then just devour him, but like it was not gonna help. It's not really going to help us get out of here.
That's my logic.
Unless I devour the next 99 people.
There's less of us, then we get a bigger purse.
Yeah,
well,
true.
That was my wonder as well.
Yeah, you definitely get a bigger cut. Well, because you get paid as a crew, basically. So
okay, nice.
Yeah, so it's looking rosy for you guys.
Also, given my out of character, given my lack of health, I don't really want to be getting into fights willy-nilly.
Yeah.
How much health have you got? Was it 3? I saw on your screen there.
I have 3 wound limit.
Good grief.
Yeah.
What's your like armor?
I don't have any armor.
Yeah. Well, so, your defense value then.
My defense is just the base 5.
You don't have any other decks?
Do you have any decks?
Nope. I have +2 perception, 0 intellect, 0 dexterity, -2 brawn. So I can see things really well. I'm pretty smart, pretty flippy, but I'm like a stick.
Good grief.
Yeah.
This is why I'm around with you,
he's like the anti-Tom. That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's the opposite.
Essentially, that's one of the reasons I picked this one out of the ones I had, was because he was the one that was the squishiest.
Yeah, I mean, like
2 brawn guys. I'm like, well, I can get away with them having -2 brawn.
That's the thing I found when I was creating. I created so many characters and run them through stuff, and like some of the characters, none of the characters can be good at anything like that, which is one thing I love. Is like you can't, because of the lack of points and you all start on -2. You pretty much have to have a negative in something, or you can get 0 and everything, and that's just shit, So like,
this is the dude.
But you can, you could like, I've made a character who had like, I think he had a 3 wound limit and a 3 defense value, and was just like, because my brother was piloting him, and I was piloting this massive boss, and he just one-shot him pretty much, because like the boss had all these crazy abilities and like put him in a hallucination and all this shit. It was just like, yeah, you're done. So you can really die. But when you go up a level, which we won't be doing this game, but like if you do it in a campaign or whatever, when you go up a level, you get an extra wound limit.
Okay.
So that adds on, and you get an attribute point, but that doesn't increase your wound limit, if you get my meaning. So like if you add +1 to your brawn, your wound limit doesn't go up by +1, but it goes up by 1 when you level up.
But if you put it into dex, does that mean your armor goes up?
Yeah.
You become better at dodging.
Does that? like unbalance it a bit though, if like you don't have the same progression on strength as you do on dex?
Well, what I've found is it doesn't really unbalance it because players tend to try and like fill out the negatives, or just like go all in on one thing, in which case it'd be unbalanced anyway, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it could do. It's definitely something I have to tinker with a bit more.
Just
I
like
think.
so, if you get one stat attribute every level, and you could just keep putting it in dex until your dex is high enough that they have to roll a 10 to hit you. But
Yeah,
if
right.
you kept putting it into the strength, you wouldn't get any more wounds to make yourself tougher in the long run.
No, that is true. But otherwise, like if you could get your wound limit up by 2 each time, sort of thing. So it'd just be ridiculous. And then with your dex, it would be like your dex would be going up.
I mean, if you thought about a wound or a characteristic point.
Yeah, I have sort of
Okay.
just realized that about 10 seconds before you thought of it, and I think that's probably what it'll end up being.
Because then you could still get a wound if you wanted to put it in strength, but some people might not want to do that, and they might just, I don't know.
Right.
It wouldn't quite work.
Yeah. Because like if you're going to strength character, you would never take the thing. But then again, like to get to the point where your dex is high enough to where to hit is +10, like the enemies are going to have massive pluses as well.
Sure.
So, it is something that I'll be tinkering with. But I think alternating them is probably, or like either or.
Yeah, alternating might work or something like that.
Mm.
Have to see about balancing those properly. But I'm enjoying how simple it is, and I don't want to try and make it too complex.
No,
I mean that everything's even, like in the long term, because that's always really difficult to plan for when you make a new system.
It's really hard
progression.
And like play testing,
yeah,
you always start with like quite simple characters, so it's sort of hard to see where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it's going in sort of the first, like, it's the second like full-on game I've played with it, but it's the first one that's sort of online and out there, and I'm really pleased. I mean, like, no matter what system we were playing, this game would still be amazing, just because of the 4 incredible characters and the incredibly amazing situation that you've put yourselves in.
I have to duck out for a few minutes in about 10 minutes, but
okay.
Just for a few, and then I'll be back. So
yeah, well, maybe it might be worth just taking a bit of an extended break then.
For Dylan to come back.
For Dylan to come back and Joe to come back. So we might just do like maybe like a half hour then, or so, if that works for everyone, and then everyone can sort of go away and do something else for half an hour.
Okay,
if that works.
Could do.
Should be good.
I've got nothing to do tomorrow.
Yeah, or we can just keep narrating Liam and.
I have my next move all planned out. If you want, we could roleplay that.
I do as well. I know what I'm gonna do next.
Okay, right. Let's do that then. So you guys can step out and do your thing, and we'll just go on a.
It takes a while to get out the vents. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, we're crawling.
Yeah, I'll just assume you guys have got lost, and eventually you can find your way back by the shoulder groove marks in the side.
Right. Those are our breadcrumbs.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has worked perfectly. So, what would you guys like to do?
So, I give him the eye and kind of like, could you do all of them? And, like, points to every bag.
The peanuts.
They're still on the
I can
bandolier.
certainly give it a shot.
Okay. He'll wait for you to open each of them while they're still on the bandolier.
I'm gonna open every single bag of peanuts.
And then when
Are there
you've
bags
done-
of crisps as well?
Yeah, definitely. But
When
only ready salted because it's a shit bar.
Are you one of them as well? One of those.
just as long as every bag is open on the bandolier, the next thing he does is that he lifts the end of the bandolier, and to his mouth, And then he flicks his head and opens his mouth like really wide to try and get all of the bags emptying into his mouth in one go.
That's amazing.
I can roll for if you want.
Roll for what would it be? Dex, Brawn?
No roll needed.
Oh.
You're a fucking crocodile. You can fit 12
Okay.
bags of.
So yeah, you see his mouth open wider than you've seen before, and it is far too many teeth to be comfortable with. And all the bags, like I don't know, 10 of them, all one after the other, sort of empty as this bandolier flips up into the air.
Yeah.
And then he does like the throwback thing with his head.
Looks at you and just says, "Really glad I'm on your side."
That's amazing. All right. So what would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna. There's nobody manning the duty free, is there?
No, he's run off.
I'm gonna running.
If you get done
I'm
for
gonna-
petty crime on the duty free.
I'm gonna have a wee crime. I'm gonna stealthily nip over to the duty free, grab a Toblerone, stuff it in a backpack, and then go back.
All right. I'll just take one dex check for that whole thing.
What was that, sorry?
And one dex check for that whole
Oh,
crime.
oh shit! I rolled a 10.
Nice.
Because it says 0, but then I remember that on this D6 a 0 is a 10.
Yeah. So like the guy like someone like sees you picking up the Toblerone and like one of the Marines, he goes, "Hey," and I imagine you just go like, "Oh, they're over there," and he goes, "Wait, what?" And like sees the commotion, is like, "Oh shit," and like runs towards it, and you just like pocket the Toblerone, leave.
But add that to my inventory. I don't know what I'll use it for, but I have it.
Yeah. Fucking weapon, Jesus.
Toblerone. That's what it's called for now. I'll think of a cleverer name, but for now it's just going to be called the Toblerone.
Kozu like pulls the dead rat out of his pocket. Like, can I assess how long it's been dead? Is it still good to
Oh,
eat
God.
for my kind of constitution?
We'll say it's been dead. I don't know, 2 months.
I don't like.
That's
Is
a
it
well-aged
preserved
steak,
in the
dude.
vacuum of space, or
It
is
was.
it like rotting? Okay.
It is perfectly preserved.
So when Trevor comes back, he probably sees like the end of a tail like disappearing.
Where'd you get spaghetti, man?
It's like that bit in Shrek. How's our ship doing? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, it's at this point we'll say it's pretty much near the top.
Okay.
How long do you think they're going to be in that vent for?
So about 15 minutes. And normally, like some people like to just wait until their ship's done and then go, but you are allowed to like go over and stand near your ship while it's being inspected, but you can't.
Okay. Do they want like some of the cargo moving out to be inspected, or will they go in and do that?
They'll do everything basically, but they won't. They like unless they find anything contrabandy, they won't take anything out.
Mm-hmm. If they're like starting to do the investigation, I think Koza will walk over.
I'm going to go with him because I'm not staying here on my own.
Yeah. When you have a giant lizard, you keep that
I
asset.
have a giant lizard working alongside me. I'm sticking by him.
Yeah.
Are there still like groups of SWAT or whatever running around screaming into their mics, like trying to find these people?
Pretty much, yeah.
So often.
But like less in the hangar.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still like a few guys like running around and everyone's on edge. And you see like the inspector come around and he's got 2 bodyguards with him. And you notice he has an enormous nose.
It's not the same guy as before.
It is the same guy.
Okay.
I was waiting to just re-notice his massive nose.
Yeah. You're just like, that's the first thing you see. He like comes around a corner and like you see for 3 seconds just the nose get longer and longer and longer before his face appears.
I like the idea that the nose isn't as tall as it is long, so it's just like a mosquito nose.
Yeah.
Judging like from my intelligence of like, he's pretty smart when it comes to tech. Is this nose like made for actually sniffing out contraband, or is it just a prosthetic?
No,
Or is it just his actual nose?
you believe that it's like some kind of biological, like a lot of people are into bio enhancements.
Okay.
And it's like when someone has too much surgery and it goes
Right.
wrong.
Okay.
He's obviously but he can't afford to have it fixed for a while, which is probably why he's done a back-to-back registration and then inspection shift.
So I imagine he's like possibly relieved that no one's initially by the ship, and then he like sees either us coming over or I arrive behind him.
Yeah. And he just like puts his hand on the shoulder of one of his bodyguards and then just pushes him in front and runs into the ship.
Did we pass by some frightened station goers to get to our ship?
Definitely.
Can I try and pickpocket stuff off them?
Definitely.
You are just
I'm gonna
getting
try and
bored, aren't
pickpocket stuff
you?
off. Hey, I'm an orphan. I was raised in the streets. I was raised to get whatever I could. It's how we do it in the hood. That's a 10. Not natural. So that's I rolled an 8 and then I got my plus 2.
All right.
Oh no, my dex, so it's an 8. Sorry. I
Okay.
forgot. I'm done.
So you reach in and you find the guys, and you find 2 items. You find basically the way money works is you have these credit card type things that are loaded up with money, kind of pay as you go type thing. And you find his one of those, and there's no pins. Like if you have the card, that's it. You've got the money, sort of thing.
Nice.
So you've got this guy's money. You don't know how much is on there, but you've got his money. You also pickpocket his shipping manifest, which means that he won't be able to get his ship back without it.
The name of this ship? Just out of curiosity.
The name of the ship is the Benjamin.
The Benjamin.
Yeah.
Is it like? Do they have classifications like our ships, like the USS, the HMS? I can't remember what it is for Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it's just called the Benjamin. Like there's
The Benjamin.
Okay. If it was a government vessel, it would have like a prefix, but because it's just some guy's ship, but it does say trawler
Thought it'd be
class.
funny to name the ship Benjamin.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Can I
he's
see where
lonely.
Benjamin is on the inspection thingy?
Yeah, like you can look at the document and look over it, and it's a similar size to yours, but it looks in much better nick, and it is supposed to be carrying ice. It's an ice hauler, which is kind of a rival to water
Ice
haulers. So if you're
If ice hauler gets too hot, it becomes a water hauler.
right,
Do I know where it is in the inspection table?
yeah, you can
thing?
see it. It's quite near yours.
Is it like on the list of being inspected? Is it below us or above us?
Oh, it says estimated inspection time is like 2:15, and yours is 2:20.
Okay, so it's just before us.
Yeah, so it's probably just been inspected or just being inspected.
Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do with this information. I just like to have it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he can't get his ship back if he doesn't have it. It's like he's stuck there forever until he gets that documentation, or until they find the backup documentation, which will take weeks.
Okay. I have an idea what I'm going to do with this information now. I'm going to stick it in my jacket pocket.
Very well. All right, what would you like to do?
I think like Kozu he pushed his like bodyguards in front of me, and I kind of just like look down at them with that toothy grin, and I kind of make that hiss. Like it's not meant to be threatening, but it's like, you know, the hiss that the crocodiles make that is absolutely terrifying.
That sort of
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. One of them, like, you see his knees wobbling. And they just say, "It's so you we can't let you on the ship yet. It's being inspected."
Once it's inspected, we can go.
He nods.
Does it like need to be refueled, or have we got like it has to get inspected, then we get fueled, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kozu could help. Kozu knows the ship.
They like look at each other and say, It's against protocol, sir. But I'll go and find the refuelers and make sure they start doing it now for you. Like, he goes to run away, and the other one goes, no, let me go. I know where he is. Like, no, I know too. And he's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And they're both fighting over who gets to leave.
Bye.
Why do you both go? Just to make sure.
And they like look at each other, but then one of them just like resolutely stays behind. And like about 30 seconds later, the guy comes back and he's got a dude like pulling a sort of big, like tank thing with a massive like hose attachment, and begins refueling the ship.
Thank you.
And the refueler guy is like, oh, you're welcome. Don't get many thank yous in this job. And he like gives you a respectful nod. The other guy just looks at him like, are you insane as this person?
Kozu grins. I think he likes it when people are polite to him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just common courtesy, that's all he wants.
Yeah.
But because he's giant lizard, he never gets it.
I'm gonna have a closer look at the Benjamin. Just because.
I think basically
I'm assuming it's on the same sort of docking station as us.
Yeah, it's like 2 across from yours.
I think basically I'm distracting this party, perhaps. Like,
Right.
I don't like innocuously. He doesn't realize, but I'm basically distracting this party while you sneak off and do something.
And you do see like all the other marine dudes, like all the guards nearby, are like sort of slowly meandering over to you, like trying to look as though they're not, but like being ready to run at you if needs be. So like,
So there's none around the Benjamin then?
yeah, they're all distracted.
So
Nice.
come here often. Like, just making awkward small talk.
Yeah, and the filler guy is like, yeah,
That's my favorite.
I do a rotation every month. So sometimes I'm here, sometimes I'm back on a miss. Yeah, I don't mind it here. It's all right. It's good work.
You come from a miss? That's where
Yeah.
I'm going.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's, well, when I do have to live there, it's not great, honestly. Just the mining is horrific.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did Kozo hear that there was disease on that planet? You said, like,
Yeah, but it's like a mental disease. It's not contagious, but I don't know if Kozu would know.
yeah.
But it's
What was it called again?
soul shivers.
I heard about the soul shivers, and as that happens, like all the spines on his back sort of do that shake, when
Yeah.
reptiles
Yes.
twitch.
And the guy filling your ship goes, yeah, I mean, it seems like more and more people are coming down with it every day. Just, it's almost like it's spreading,
Kozo's eyes go like wide, and they haven't like gone wide like this entire thing, and maybe like the like the slit pupil like refocuses it
Yeah.
on him. People are catching it.
Well, I mean, it's just people going mad from the mining. So it's not really a disease, but every day more and more people further and further away from the mining get it and start coming down. You hear horrible stories of people, killing their families and killing random people in the street. And well, they can't take it anymore. The constant noise.
I think you hear that hiss, but it's like reversed. Almost, it sounds like trepidation. Like,
Yeah.
Stay out of the mines. Got it. Stay out of the towns.
And he just nods and says, definitely.
What about your spawnlings?
And he thinks for a second. Oh, children, never married.
No. And like he that was his attempt to be sympathetic, and like his head tilts a bit.
And he just says, yeah, well, there was a girl once, but well, I broke it off because, well, I didn't want to have children or become romantically involved in a a place where that can happen to people, you know.
What if you weren't on that place?
Well, I don't know. I'm probably too old now.
How old is he?
He looks like late 40s.
Kozu is good with people. Perhaps we bring her here.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen her since last month, and I mean, if she wants to come,
We're going to Bardoon afterwards. Is that better for you? And he's like, still like his head is going like twitching backwards and forwards as he's.
and he says, "Well, I just haven't been able to afford the transport, you know."
We have a transport, and he kind of leans against the ship that he's refueling.
And the ship that he's refueling, your ship, just tilts ever so slightly on its suspension. And he says, "Yeah, but I make pennies doing this job."
But it's the same distance from Bardoon to here as a miss.
Well, the company flies me to a miss, but I can't afford to, leave my house and everything and pay for the flight. I can barely survive on food, with this pay.
The company can't pay for housing on Bardoon.
Oh, they could. They just won't. I mean, they don't give a shit about me.
Kozu has money. Kozu could set you up. Is that the right phrase?
I believe it is, but why would you? I'm just the guy who refuels your ship.
Kozu thinks it's important to follow your heart.
And he just gives you the most genuinely heartfelt look in the entire world. No one has these conversations anymore. The world is half the planets in the Triumvirate are like Mad Max, and the other half are like Tatooine. So it's all sort of decency and kindness is lost, and he's just he starts to well up.
Kozu comes from better planet. Others would say simpler. But Kozu know it's better.
And he just nods and says, "That's just the truest thing I've heard, I think, in my life."
You give details of mate. Kozu will bring her.
Yeah, and he reaches in his pockets and pulls out a picture. And it's a red-haired woman with freckles. She's looks a lot younger, and the picture's quite old.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, her name's Sylvie. She lives in Eros, which is the capital of Imis, pretty much. I'll spell it for you.
Basically, he will ask for the street and everything.
Right, and he
whatever's appropriate.
He says he doesn't know where she lives, but he knows that she works in a place called the Moonlight Bar.
Who likes bars?
Yeah, and he just he steps up and puts a hand on your arm and low down and everything because you're so massive, and he's just you just might be one of the best damn people I've ever met.
He he has possibly trying to tilt his head down and still keep the guy in focus because he's got the crocodiles have sideways eyes, so he has to look horizontally at people. People are mammals. Crocs are reptiles. But I get your meaning. We should be back here in about a week.
And he just nods and says,
Sure.
I'll be waiting.
As Trevor's been listening to this, if this was like a film, the camera would occasionally pan to him and look to him, obviously like hearing all this and being like, "Oh, I want to help, but I also like this stuff, but I want to help."
Yeah.
And he just like shakes his head and goes, "Fuck it." And he comes out and he says, I found this shipping manifesto in this card. I don't know where it came from. I wonder if you could do anything with it to give it to the people who really need it."
Oh, that character arc there. You're getting a sense of.
It's beautiful. Yeah, he just like looks at it and says, "Well, you know, most men would have just taken this and looted the ship, but you know, I think you guys you're the most decent people I've ever met, and well, you've given me hope that we can change." And sort of puts it in his pocket and starts heading towards his superior. And just to be clear, Liam, you did 100% loot it before you gave it back to him if you want to have.
What would I have found on that ship that would have been of any use to me?
So the main thing that you'd look for when you're looting a ship is you'd go to the engines and find these things called redux cores, which are like sort of batteries that power ships, and they're like, you know, like one of them is sort of like the equivalent to like maybe a really nice computer, like in you know, in price, like £2,000 or £3,000, you know, in our money sort of thing. So, and most ships carry like 20 of these things. So if you just took all those, you'd be fucking minted pretty much, or you'd make.
How many does the Benjamin need to function?
I mean, one will last probably for like a week of solid travel.
And this one had 20?
I'll roll for it. Let's see.
Can I also say before he walks off, I need to get his name. So like a crocodile hand comes around his shoulder and goes, "I need your name."
He says, "Yeah, my name's Jeremy."
Even though we said it several times in the conversation, Kozu will go, "Mine's Kozu," and he like holds out a hand. Like all of this like sympathy kind of thing is like him trying to pick it up from mammals that he's learned from.
Yeah, and he'd just shake your hand and just say, "Good to meet you, Kozu." And his name is Jeremy Lanchester. I'll write it in there.
How many cores would I have been able to fit in my bag?
Oh, like these things are like
pretty full of stuff by now.
You know, they're probably like the size of a Coke can, each of them. So, I mean, there's 16 on the ship, so you could easily take 15 with you, and you know, it wouldn't look too suspicious.
I'll take. Do I want to leave them with only a week?
Well, I mean, everywhere they can travel from here is 3 days away. And then when they come back, they can like request more at great expense to themselves.
Crikey. Let's say I took 15, but then when I gave him the thing, I like slipped 5 into his.
Oh right,
yeah,
so you're
there's like some spares.
So you're giving 5 to Jeremy. Liam?
One, it haven't cost a load. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't catch any of that.
Oh, I imagine I took 15 of them.
Right.
Just to leave the thing with one so it could go.
Yeah.
But stuff, I'm like, I don't really want to leave him with just like the one core, given how much they cost. So I slipped like 5 into his pocket.
Right, but like Jeremy isn't the guy you stole them from.
I know.
All right, okay. So if you're giving them to Jeremy, then yeah, you can give him 5 of them.
Because I know I've just technically it's gonna look like he stole the ship, but I'm hoping he'll be able to get away fast enough.
Well, like these things are, you know, they're like you can't trace them or anything. They literally are just like Coke cans, pretty much, and like they're very common. They're just expensive. So like, you've probably given him like, you know, maybe a year's salary right there, or maybe half a year.
Nice.
So he's like blown away.
And we've still got 10. So
yeah,
I'm solid.
So you've still got like, you know, 30,000 quid's worth there, pretty much. So yeah, you're pretty much in a great position right there. So yeah, Is there anything else?
I know what it's like to be hard out on the street.
Anything else you guys would like to do?
So does he know that you've just stolen a bunch of things and like put them in his pockets, or have you like loaded?
No, yeah, I imagine it's sort of like he slipped them to him.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, rather than you pocketed 5 Coke cans, you know.
I will vouch for him.
Waiting for the inspector to come out, I suppose.
Yeah. So pretty much at this point, the inspector like comes out, and he's got like he's looking at you through like slitted eyes, like you know, like he's trying to read you almost.
Do you want that drink now?
And he just says, "Your ship is fine. You're free to go."
Thank you.
And just like gets off and leaves. And
Hey Kozu, who has our shipping manifesto?
Probably not us. I mean, I could.
Yeah.
I'm gonna feel around, look in my backpack. 10 suspicious Coke cans.
Okay, here's what I'll say. Is the way it works is you hand in your shipping manifest, and then they give it back to you after your inspection, so that you may fly.
Oh, okay.
So that guy had just finished being inspected and was about to leave when you took his one. So the inspector gives it to you.
Okay. The other two might have left it on the table or something. We picked it up when we walked over to give it to him. I don't know.
I guess we just have to wait for for our others to return from their adventure.
I have
we going to the bar?
Yeah. I have like no perception, but like from him being squinty-eyed at me, can I like, roll a dice and see if I can read him back? I know he was trying to read me.
Yeah, sure. Make a roll perception.
5, even with the -2.
Oh, that's not too bad. Yeah, so you can see him like he's giving you a sideways look as if he expected to find contraband but didn't.
Right. Okay. Because I think like Koza still has like an instinct, maybe.
Right.
But if that's fine, that's fine. Cool.
All right. So Dylan's back. I think Joe's not yet back, but that's no worries. So I'll just pilot Thom for a bit. So Zam, you're in the vents, and your ship is now ready to depart.
Okay.
So you have to basically find your way to the ship. Dylan, I'm getting a bit of echo. Is there any way you could use headphones or something?
I could try. Hold on.
No worries.
I'll have to find them.
So, I just love that you've like spoken to this dude, and like, you know, he was not supposed to be in the game clearly, and you just like found out a load of exposition and got a side quest and had a whole character arc from like a guy who doesn't care about anything to someone who's.
That's the magic of roleplay. Got half an hour to kill. Let's get emotional in here.
I hope that dude finds a woman and has a good life somewhere where there's not a mental illness.
See, half of me just wants him to like use those cores and buy a really nice house and like get a job he loves, and you know, is able to follow his dream of designing shoes or whatever and become really successful. The other half of me just sees like, you know, the ship take off, and like you turn around and the engines, like as you're flying away, like Cat set fire to his massive oil fueler, and he just explodes in a ball of fire.
My concern is that he gets caught having stolen a ship manifesto into a credit card.
But he's gonna go hand this in, I think.
Oh,
like as found. I think he's like the last of the good dudes, you know.
Oh well. I said to give it to someone who really needs it, and if he doesn't think he needs it, that's fine by me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, perfect.
Can you hear me without the echo now?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Cool.
So Joe has just got back as well. This couldn't have been timed better. So yeah, you guys basically missed. You guys are still in the vent, crawling around. Meanwhile, Kozu and Trevor went to the ship, had another run-in with the inspector, who checked the ship, found no contraband, and is allowing them to leave. Meanwhile, they met a fuel refueler who is from Emis originally and lives on Humboldt, and they find out loads of stuff about Emis, which they'll fill you in on, I'm sure. And they've got a side quest to find this guy's wife or future wife and bring her to Humboldt so they can live together. And yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, sounds pretty ridiculous. So we're up in the vents right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I use my camera access to kind of check the status of the ship?
Yeah. So at this point, you'll see the inspection going on. So you'll see the long-nosed inspector going in, and the two guards kind of standing outside talking to, because we're going back in time a bit, so they'll be talking to the other two.
Okay.
As you're crawling along, the vent that you're in is air conditioning sort of thing, and there's kind of like a sort of vent into a room that you crawl over, and as you do, you see this enormous troll, and he's huge. He's like maybe 12, 13 feet tall. He looks like he weighs the same as a large car. His hands are handcuffed together, kind of like a giant Chinese finger trap sort of thing, where it's like one big black metal kind of cylinder, and his hands are on each side. And he's sitting on the floor opposite another inspector who's sort of interviewing him, and the troll's just grunting and like saying half words, you know. But you can sort of keep on crawling, and as you do, you just hear the troll say the word "Bulek." Bulek.
Do I
recognize
that word?
That's the name of your boss.
Right. All right. I will sit and listen for a minute and see what else he says.
And the inspector says, "Who's Bulek?" Says, "Bulek, big man." What do you mean, big man? Bulek, big man. And he just says the same thing, and the inspector's getting exasperated and confused and doesn't know what's happening, and so moves on to another question. Why are you here? Bulek, send. Find fly. Find the fly. What fly? Fly. And like that, this is just like, you know, him trying to have a conversation with a dog or something. You know, it's just not going well. Bulek, send. Find fly. Who did he send to find the fly? And the troll kind of looks up like, am I talking to an idiot? Sort of thing. And says, Haga. And the inspector says, who's Haga? Haga. And he bangs the handcuffs on his head. And he says, you're Haga? Haga. And he like nods. Okay, so Mr. Haga, who is Bulek? Bulek, big man. And this just goes on for like as long as you sit there, basically.
All right. Well, I will roll my eyes and sigh and continue along. Can I try to hack remotely into the computer system again and see if I can get schematics of the air vents to find the best way to the hangar?
There's no way to hack into the computers without using one of the access panels, I'm afraid. So you'd have to like drop down.
Okay.
But you know that you're above the interrogation room, which means you must be adjacent to the hangars, pretty much.
Okay. I'll check in with Thom real quick. Say, hey, Thom, this might be a silly question, but any bright ideas?
Maybe we ought to turn the troll loose.
Okay.
I don't know. Just keep it in mind.
Okay.
Scratch.
That's a thought. The
I
troll
really-
does seem to be selling us out, though.
I really do, but I really don't want to know every time what Thom is scratching.
So do I.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
picture
So
him
you
as,
guys,
as a butt scratcher.
Whatever itches.
As one does.
but yeah, you'd be able to figure out basically from where you are. You just need to basically go forward, and then at the end of like when it kind of comes to the T junction, that point is where you want to drop down, and you'll be in the hangar.
Okay. All right. Well, keeping an eye on the hangar. We'll wait for. Is the ship open right now?
Yeah, if you're looking through your glass, yeah, you can see the inspector hasn't re-emerged. The door's open, and you see like a crying man refueling the ship, talking to Cozy.
Okay. I guess we'll get ourselves in position to drop down into the hangar and wait for the hangar to clear, at least as far as I can see, and then we'll drop down and try to board the ship.
Well, somehow, amazingly, it's worked perfectly that all of the security in the hangar has sort of started moving towards Kozu, like I described earlier. So at this point, you can drop down quite easily. But if you drop down, you're not spotted or anything. But as Thom drops down, you hear a crash and a scream.
Do I? Is it Thom?
No, Thom jumps down next to you if you're jumping down, and the crash and the scream comes from the room behind you, which is the room you were just above.
The interrogation room.
Correct.
I ignore it completely, and I get on the ship, and I find one of the hidden compartments that we keep for smuggling, and I crawl inside of it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So as you're heading towards the ship, the inspector comes out and speaks to your crewmates, hands them a document, and moves away. And security sort of goes back to normal. At this exact moment, boom! The door it would smash open if it was still there, but instead a 13-foot, like 6 feet wide hole just comes through the door, or where the door used to be, as a troll, handcuffed, comes sprinting through, shouting, "Fly!"
Are the other two crew members aboard?
No, they're standing outside at this point.
I will wait until they're on board. I'll keep my viewing access on the hangar, and once they're aboard, I'll close the gate and take off.
All right. The troll sprints past you. He's much quicker than you, as you're sort of moving towards it. And as he passes you, you see he's got a cybernetic implant in the side of his head covering one eye. And you see him like look around, and he looks at your ship and starts sprinting towards it.
Can I hack him?
If you were on his head and had physical contact.
Okay. Then I will do nothing. Are we doing an initiative order or anything?
Not at the moment, but there is pandemonium as all the Marines just open fire on this troll. And he's just shouting, "Fly! Fly!"
I would love to.
And I'm running for our ship.
Yeah, so at this point, you turn around, and there's a massive troll running at the Mayfly.
We'll see how this works. But Kozu reacting to that surprisingly quickly, perhaps. Like palm pushes Jeremoy like about 10-15 feet probably through the air, just away from the troll, so like it doesn't run over. It's still probably gonna hurt, maybe crack a rib or something, but he just goes boom, and then he grabs the fueler tanker thing, picks it up, and throws it at the troll.
Oh my god! Make me a brawn check.
Come
Please
on,
don't fail
brawn. That is an 8 with the +2 again, because I seem to roll mediocre, like just middling.
So this thing is like I don't know, maybe the size of like a Vespa sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hurl it, and it is like one of the heaviest things, like pretty much at the limit of how much you can pick up reasonably. And you hurl it, and it hits the ground just before it reaches the troll, but it like lands on the troll's foot and trips him, and like the whole room just rumbles. And you see like these Marines just running at him, like shooting the ropes that they were shooting before, and like they're just like pounding on him, and the troll is just covering his head and just crying, like screaming, and just shouting the word "fly" through his tears and snot.
Poor little guy.
Can I determine whether he's yelling "fly" because he wants us to fly, or whether he wants to destroy the Mayfly?
Yeah.
I think Goza's worked out that this guy was perhaps meant to double cross us.
Yeah, he
my
was.
ship up.
He was definitely like pointing and running towards the fly, shouting "fly." He was ignoring all people. He was just looking for the ship.
Okay. So he was probably going to destroy us, in which case...
Right.
We should probably run.
In which case, clutch move by Cozy.
I think he was mostly acting out of instinct, but like I thought that he, like him shouting "fly" and running at me, and he's fairly intelligent, might have thought that this was some setup, but yeah, the claws hurls that huge thing and it arcs through the air.
Yeah.
While he's sort of hissing, probably doing that, like getting ready in that prowl, and he sees like tail whip around, just ready to take it.
And he just shouts like, "Balek, Balek, fly, fly." Just over and over again. What would
Do
you
I
guys
know
like to do?
that Zam and Thom are here?
Yeah, you guys all kind of
Can I
meet
see
up
them?
at this point. Like, I'm imagining like they've run to you, and you guys are all standing outside the Mayfly.
I point into the ship and go "fly."
Fly.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I fully support it. As captain, I give such an order now. Go!
So you guys just
There's one
barrel
last
on.
moment where Kozu looks over to see if Jamoy is like standing up. Is
And
okay.
he is underneath the trot. No, I'm just kidding. He is like standing up. He's kind of clutching his ribs, and he's just saluting you with like misty eyes from across the room.
I give him like a big reptile thumbs up, probably with like 3 fingers and like a big clawed thumb, and then stomp into the ship.
Yeah, and you don't see him just wipe his eye and just say to himself, "You go, man, you go."
You go, you beautiful bastard. You go.
Did you say the troll was covered in the fuel, right?
Probably.
Yes. Hold on.
So just before we take off, I'm gonna pull a cigar out of my bag, light it, and flick it onto the troll, and say "fly, fly, fly" as I shut the door.
Oh, man.
All right. The ship flies away. Nothing happens.
What?
And then,
Bullshit.
when the ship is pretty much a safe distance away, because the thing was on a timer, you see the left half of Humboldt Station explode.
Whoa!
Jamoy! And he puts like his hand up to the glass. And
But
there's like a tear.
It's really good you didn't try to smoke those, Liam.
They did
But
not
the
tell
half
me
that
that was
blows
going to
up-
be that big in the packaging.
the half that blows up is like, if you're looking at the 8, it's like the right-hand side of the 8 rather than the bottom half of the 8. So you think it's close, but Jeremy could have survived because he was on the other side. So he's not necessarily dead, but he's not necessarily alive either. So you just don't know. And the Mayfly pulls away from what can only be described as a fiasco.
Success.
And the next 3 days go uneventful. You get the impression you probably would have been followed just as protocol for being shifty, but because there's no ships left, you're not followed.
So we probably like devastated this whole sector too, right?
Just like
Right.
your average explosion.
You've probably crippled the economy of this whole solar system. You've probably forced starvation onto Emis, as the food that grows there is mostly inedible and they get all their food imported. You've probably destabilized the entire the entire like governing body of this region of the
important
triangle.
question, though, is do we get paid?
Oh yeah, the guys who paid you on this on the space station.
You know what's a more important question? Did we look cool doing it?
Oh yeah.
That's all that matters.
You look fucking dope.
Especially Trevor. Trevor's just like, if we looked cool, I don't care.
I imagine like Trevor just has no reaction until no one's looking, and then he's like, "Fuck yes." So yeah, you guys you fly on, and you see the blue moon of Emis sort of come into view, and you see like half of it is just grey and metallic and just covered in like drills and apparatus that you can even see from space. Like, this is a huge operation. And the other half is just this kind of bluish sand desert, and you're following your kind of tracker to get you to Eris, which is the capital city and where the dead drop is supposed to be. And as you touch down, you know, your papers are checked and everything, but you know, you've already been checked at Humboldt Station, so you know you can't have any contraband on you because they would have caught it there, sort of thing. And as you you know, as you alight, you sort of remember your instructions about where the dead drop was, which was in this big kind of office building, which is like it's sort of like one of those, you know, there's just like massive skyscrapers that are just offices and no one really knows who actually works there. It's sort of like that, one of those. But as you kind of reach it, you can see that the back half of it has fallen down, evidently because of the basically constant earthquakes that you feel pretty much every, you know, couple minutes. There's just like a that like shakes the whole place, and you know, you can immediately see like, oh, like I'm surprised more people aren't insane on this planet. You know, just the rumbling every, you know, couple minutes.
Thinking about building a summer home here. What do you think, Thumb?
Sounds like home to me.
Yeah, there you go.
And and as you go, you reach the dead drop. You place the 10 highly illicit packages, and you see across the way a man, and he's wearing this sort of tracksuit, and it's got this kind of triangular symbol on it, and he's got the same one sort of tattooed on his neck, and he's just leaning against the building opposite with his arms folded, and he just nods at you as you leave. And you see, as you're sort of going to leave, you see 2 Marines. They look exactly the same as the ones on the on Humboldt Station, but they have the triangle they have is exactly the same as the guy who just nodded at you, but it's upside down, or the guy's is upside down. You're not sure, but it's inverted either way. And they kind of see you and like look at each other, and then see the guy, and like sort of ready their weapons and start walking towards you. And one of them shouts, "Hey!" And the other one's talking on his radio.
Is the fellow we just did the handoff with still around?
You look around and you see him like pulling up his hood and start walking away.
There's only 2 guards?
Yeah. But like as the guy walks away, he says, "Hey!" And the guy starts like breaking into a run.
Okay. I ignore him. I keep walking in the direction we were going.
Right.
And they say, "Hey, stop!" And you hear like the ping as their weapons charge up.
They're firing it. They're talking to us, clearly?
Yeah.
Okay. I say, yes, officer, what can I help you with?
What are you doing in that building?
I don't think I was in the building. We were just walking by.
We saw you.
We're tourists.
We saw you leave the building.
Oh, were we in the building? I didn't know we were.
And they like, look at each other, and one of them just smashes you in the chest with the butt of his gun.
Is he making an attack roll or just
He
happens?
is, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's gonna be 9 to hit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're not gonna take 1 wound because he's going for like a non-lethal type thing, but he's smashed you to the ground basically, like knocks you on your ass.
All right. That was highly uncalled for. I'm going to blast some gas in their face.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
This is going to be flatulence gas. It's going to loosen their bowels so that anybody who breathes it just shits themselves.
Awesome.
I thought you meant the gas smelled like flatulence.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No, this is way worse.
Yeah. So you release it. I'm gonna need everyone.
Oh no!
Do we get a warning?
I figured they were in front of me and everyone else behind me.
Well, it's windy.
Well, sorry guys.
Gas spreads, my dude.
So I just need everyone to roll.
So am I saving against my own attack?
You are. I just need everyone to roll a d10, and you are fine if you get 6 or above.
I got an 8.
Oh yes,
You're
fine.
fine.
I got 7.
I got a 10.
Can I ask, because crocodiles are like aquatic and can close their noses and mouths and like go underwater, do I get like advantage?
Yeah, you can have a +2.
Okay, good. That means I get a 6.
God damn. All right, so you guys.
I imagine his shits are just like runny and white.
Yeah.
Probably don't want to know.
You guys all feel your stomachs rumble horribly, but you're okay. The two of them. One of them is like, oh, and the other one just like, he doesn't say anything, but he's turned white. And he has wide eyes. He just looks at the other one. And he's like breathing really heavily. And he just runs. And then halfway through, his runs, oh my God. His run's normal. And then like halfway through, he goes up, and he starts running as if he's just been riding on a horse for like 12 hours.
Nice.
I like to imagine he's crying to himself like, oh God.
He has flashbacks to when he was like 5.
Yeah. And the other guy just like points a gun at your head and just, what was that? And then takes another deep breath.
I say, that was the most poisonous substance known to man. Let us go and I'll give you the antidote.
And he just like looks around, sees he's outnumbered and everything. Just give the antidote, please. And like drops his gun and just puts his hand up.
I take his radio and I reach into my pocket and I pull out like a vial of, we'll call it like death stick, like just a hallucinogenic little bit of like drugs, and I'll say, take this, you'll be fine.
He just slams it and just passes out and releases his bowels.
Oh God! Do you have a credit card on him?
He does.
Oh, dude, yeah, let's rob him.
I'm having it.
And he's got a sweet ass gun.
Yeah, we'll take his gun.
Yeah.
We'll take his badge, his ID, all that stuff.
So the gun gives you a +1 to ranged attacks and has the grapple effect as well.
Oh, that's what the Black Ops infantry rifle is like.
Right. So
okay, I have one of those as well.
You do. It's called a Thumbs Club rifle. Okay. And what would you like to do now?
Back to the ship and get off this planet.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah, we're finished here, right?
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Koza goes, no, must find Sylvie.
I'm sorry, Sylvie, what?
Who?
That's the name of Jeremy's partner?
Are you talking about the fellow are you talking about the fellow that you just blew up?
Oh, yeah, on the
Still
thing.
be alive.
Yeah, or he could be
He
horrible.
could still be alive.
Well,
I understand you don't really want to stay here too long, but we could go have a look for her. We know where she is. Or could be.
How long do you think this is going to take? I mean, the longer we stay here, the higher the chances that we're going to be picked up by law enforcement.
she works at the Moonlight Bar, which you passed on your way to get here.
We get one drink.
Well, I would never refuse a drink with you. So sure, let's go.
Good.
Hey, it's on him. And then I put up the credit card that we just stole.
Even better.
So you guys go to the Moonlight Bar. Inside, it's very dark, apart from a massive skylight, which lets in pretty much no light. So it's just really hard to see. And as you're walking in, you can see that there's absolutely no customers, and there's just a man standing behind the bar.
Do I see anything on like heat or X-ray vision?
Maybe you kind of give it a scan. You see there's a back room, and there's like 2 sort of heat blobs in a back room, but that's it.
Okay.
I didn't get given the picture, did I? He just showed me it.
Yeah, he just showed you it.
Oh, I was gonna have that. Maybe like I scanned it or something with my scanner, because what I want to do is walk up to the barman and then hold the scanner up, and like the picture comes up on it, and like there's a moment where he's having to like, and you realize that he can't tell many humans apart. You are not Sylvie.
That's exactly what happens. And he says, no, she's in the back getting ready for tonight.
I must talk to her.
She's busy right now. Come back tonight.
Listen, little man, we don't have that kind of time. I think you better help my large carnivorous friend here out before things get ugly.
So at this point, he's like behind the bar, and then you realize he stands up from sitting down, and he's about 8 feet tall.
Or, we do it some other way. That's fine.
He's still shorter than Cozy, though.
Also, Cozy's a massive reptile.
Yeah, but
Yes.
because he's in a bar, like how behind the bar it's always like an extra foot or an extra little bit higher, so the barman looks imposing. So he's like standing 9 feet tall at this point, so he's probably over Cozy.
Kozu kind of like squares off against him, like the broad reptilian shoulders. He's probably wider than him, even if he isn't taller.
Yeah,
and, like,
definitely.
looks at him, goes, "Would you stand in the way of love?"
Oh my god, this character's amazing.
I don't know what to say. He just he just looks at you and says, "I'll stand in the way of anyone who wants to talk to one of my girls without paying." And you see him you see his hand, like one hand's on the bar and one hand's like down underneath the bar, but you can't see.
Before this gets terrible, or you have to watch a reptile do sexual things to you, why don't you tell us what the price is just to talk to one of your girls?
How much you got?
That is not how this works.
It's my bar. I say how it works.
Well, I've got 5.
And you see him like counting up in his head. And he says, "Wait, 5 what?"
5 knuckles on that guy's fist.
And he says, "Yeah, well, I got 1." And then he pulls up 2. He pulls up 2 like knives. And he said, "I mean 2."
Can we go into initiative, or can I do it like?
You can act.
Okay. Kozu darts forward, snaps his jaw around this guy's neck, and goes into a death roll.
Yes.
The thing they do to break like every bone in a gazelle's body.
Oh my god.
Across the bar.
Okay.
See, I should have said 62 teeth in that guy's mouth.
All right, let's have a brawn thing.
I got a 9. Unless you gave me any sort of advantages, that's
Well,
fine.
I would have if he didn't roll a 1.
Okay.
So
So the jaws come snake forward and snap shut. And then it just like either side of his head, and then he starts rolling basically to like break the neck across the bar. Only they're like 8 and 9 feet tall.
Like, panicked. I'm yelling Kozu because I've never seen him do this before, so I'm panicking.
okay, so at this point,
like, Kozu.
Two women who are clearly dressed like ladies of the night come running out. Like one of them's like half putting earrings on and just scream and just run back into the back room.
Excuse me, are one of you what's her name?
Sylvie.
Are one of you Sylvie, madam, Mrs.?
I like you yell as they're running away.
And they just
from the giant terrifying reptile man.
They just ignore you and fucking book it.
We're here to rescue you. Anything?
You just
I'm gonna run after them.
Okay. You find them like wrestling to try and open a door that's chained shut.
Girls, it's fine. This is just a routine. Which one are you,
Mauling
Sylvie?
by alligator.
And they both just look at each other. One's got red hair, one's blonde. One's the red hair one is kind of average height. The blonde one's really tall. They just look at each other and look back.
I didn't see the photo of Sylvie, did I?
You might have.
Not unless you asked about it in the last 3 days we were traveling. Like we had to have time to.
I was consoling you about Jeremy's death, so I'm assuming you'd have mentioned it.
Probably. I think you would have seen. You might.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so. Like, plus you were around when he was showing you it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll say yeah. You can see she's the red-haired one.
Oh, Sylvie, we have a mission to we gotta transport Jeremy, you know him?
And she's like, Jeremy?
Can I push through the door at this point, covered in blood?
Oh, yeah.
And just go, he sends his regards.
And she just screams and picks up a gun off the table and just shoots you. Okay. She rolled a 5.
That hits. I have 4 armor.
So it just hits you right in the chest. But I am gonna say that this gun is Emission Tech and is terrible, and she's a terrible shot. So, and just for the story, this bullet bounces off you.
Okay. Or flesh wound, mind you.
Yeah, like it. Or actually, yeah, that's better. Is it embeds itself in you? Just don't react.
Kozu kind of like tweaks it, turns his head. Aren't regards a good thing?
I mean, not when you look like you do, and you're covered in another man's bodily fluids.
And she says, "Oh God, I thought Jeremy loved me. Why is he doing
He
this?"
does. We're here to take you to him, so you can go and live happily ever after in the middle of space.
She just passes out.
Oh, that was easy. Thom, do you think you can carry back? Yep.
The blonde is just staring at you and has no words.
Was I able to reload my gas canisters while we were traveling?
I don't think you'd have any more. Like they're quite sort of a specialist thing designed for you. So you can probably commission more when you get back onto a planet.
Gotcha.
I think like Kozu like dips down and picks her up and puts her like over one shoulder and like sideways, unnervingly sideways looks at the blonde, just going, "Pleasure doing business." And then just like pushes back through the doorway.
Blondie.
I'm gonna look at him and say, "We can rescue you too if you want," and then I wink her.
And she just says, "Please, God, no."
Listen, Blondie, you see that blood-soaked reptile over there?
She nods.
I will send him back here if I hear one peep about anything that happened here from the police. Yeah?
And she says, "I won't say a word. I won't say a word."
All right.
Now, the thing is, the reason I came in late is when the guys come back out, there is a lot of blood, but there's no evidence of a body.
Of course not.
Oh my God.
And Kozu just keeps walking out to the door while everyone else looks around.
Does anyone else have indigestion? Like, what is going on?
Kozu, we
that's
have
amazing.
to do business again sometime.
Kozu is good at business.
And
Yeah, damn right.
yeah, so you guys, I'll say you managed to get back onto the ship with her. Your ship's refueled, your manifest is prepared, you're ready to leave. Is there anything else you want to do on MS?
Can I buy more gas canisters?
You can try. Just roll me a d10.
It's an 8.
Yeah, you find one guy, and he's got 2, but they're quite old.
Okay.
But I mean, they're functional.
Okay. Yeah, as long as what kind are they?
Yeah. Oh, geez. Let me have a look. Okay, they are. One is the flatulence one, and one is the knockout one.
Okay.
And
Flatulence wants so many people.
yeah,
That was the most effective one so far.
yeah, definitely. And so yeah, if there's nothing else you'd like to do, oh yeah.
Can I use the guard's credit card and just buy as much beer as physically possible?
Yeah. You just like go to Costco,
take it back with
buy
us.
pallets.
That's a good idea, Trevor. That's a really
Go
good.
enough
You're a genius, Trevor.
This guy was a Marine, and they get paid really well because they're private security. So this guy is fucking loaded. So like, I imagine you like go to a distillery and you've got all these empty water barrels. You like fill them up, boys.
Oh yeah. Love these fuckers.
So your beer laden ship flies back for 3 days.
On the ship, Kozu just like bites into the canister with it in his mouth, and it just, you know, when you like
Throws it back.
just stab a can and then just chug it or whatever, shotgunning it. That's what he shotguns kegs.
Shotguns a barrel. Fuck's sake.
We're gonna have a drunk crocodile on a spaceship.
Yeah.
We'll probably try and explain to Sylvie what the hell happened.
Yeah, like she sort of at first, like the first day, she's like petrified, but then sort of after that, like actually like being around Kozu and being around you guys, she like realizes that she's like, this guy is genuinely like just a romantic reptile.
Kozu's
So
the
sort
best
of-
dude.
She's like petrified still, but she trusts you, and you know isn't like fainting at the sight of you, sort of thing. And so you see, you know, the Humboldt station comes into view, and it is like half of it is really messed up, but sort of it's like got all this like makeshift sort of tenting over it to sort of cover it up, so it's kind of been like hackneyed to sort of be functional still while repairs are going on. And this time, you know, the same procedure goes through. You land, and the door opens, and as you walk out, you see about 500 Marines, no civilians, all pointing guns at you. And the last thing you see before we end this session is Trevor way off in the distance, shaking his head, and he just says to himself, I thought they were better. And that's where we'll end it tonight.
I thought they were there.
Trevor's different disappointment.
Wait, Trevor